listening to the Northern Hunter Podcast, home of all things hunting, fishing, and outdoors in Alaska.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is James Payne, and I'm sitting here with Chris Perez as my co-host. And we are very blessed to be sitting down with international hunter, foreign guide, local assistant guide, Marcel Powell. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us this evening.
Awesome. No worries.
So I'm very excited to talk to you. We typically have like a whole outline of stuff that we talk about and whatnot. And usually there's like a direct point that we know ahead of time. And I don't think we're going to do any of that this episode. I think I'm excited enough just to find out about the rest of your life that we'll find the point.
Yeah.
The lessons learned within any stories told.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very excited to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Cool.
As far as any kind of intro, we have, I don't really have any further announcements than what I mentioned in the last episode. For anybody listening, just remember if you can be in Fairbanks or are in Fairbanks listening, we have the African PH that I went hunting with in South Africa, Defin Delange. He's going to be coming into Fairbanks the last week of November. We're going to be doing a Northern Hunter sponsored meet and greet at the Red Fox here in Fairbanks. And that's, again, I don't have any further details right now. If I do find any, though, for anybody listening, I will plug. You probably already heard it if I did get details because I'll put it in the beginning of the episode. So if it wasn't there, I don't have any more details yet. But it is going to be sometime in the last week in November. So if you want to meet up with him and talk about his outfit over there, Winterberg Safaris, that's the one I used when I went over there.
Cool.
And then we'll have a nice meet and greet, have some drinks, and talk hunting and all that stuff. So it'll be fun.
You got a location on that yet?
Red Fox.
Red Fox. Okay.
Yep. It's
That's right.
on the west side of Fairbanks. Yeah, down there by Justice Store.
Yep.
So
University West area.
yeah. Yep. And I mean that is going to be the week of Thanksgiving too. So we'll try to keep it as far away from the holiday as possible so that people can, work around their holiday travel plans and stuff like that. And I do apologize. It is over holiday if you're going to be gone for that entire week. We're kind of working with what we got. He's got certain dates he's able to be out of South Africa where he doesn't have hunts scheduled, and he's able to be up here in Fairbanks for that stretch of time. So I will release not only on the show here but on our Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff as well. We'll get a flyer put together or something like that. So it'll be a good time. There's going to be another meet and greet too. I believe Iron and Wood is going to be putting on a meet and greet. And yeah, he'll be around. So if you have any questions, he'll be coming on the show too. We're going to be doing an episode with him. So anybody that has any questions about South African hunting with him, right into the show. Let us know. Go to the website, hit the contact button. It'll get an email to us, and I'll know to ask him that question on the air. So
Awesome.
Yeah. So how's your, just to jump into a little bit of current, how's your trapping planning going? I've been seeing a couple of videos you've been posting.
Well, it was going pretty good. I was trapping a bit of early season beaver just for.
Oh, yep.
I mean, the hides are not great yet, but I needed a little bait for the Wolverine wolf situation, and I just came up to Fairbanks to get my truck fixed, and the outfit I'm using to fix the truck, run it with a dry sump.
Oh.
And so right now we're looking at grabbing a new motor out of Anchorage. Could be 10, 15 days.
Oh,
so
it's going to be a little bit longer of a repair than you expected, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And kind of puts a little dampener on the starter because I was going to go and put some gear out this coming week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going into an area that I've never been in before. I flew a little bit last season.
Nice.
I flew it extensively actually and saw a lot of sign in there. So,
good stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
that's exciting.
Yeah.
No, it's hard to find spots to be alone. I mean, these days it seems like everywhere there's sign of people as well. At least for most people that are trying to get out there.
Yep. And just when you get away, someone pulls in a cub and lands on your set.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
That's how she goes.
Yeah.
But
don't get me started on that.
Yeah, I heard the story.
Yeah. But I'm going to be 50 miles before I even put steel in the ground in the trees, whatever.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That'll get you away from people, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, we flew it extensively last season, and the guy I was flying with has flown it for the last 12 years.
Nice.
In winter. And he's not seen anything in there for 7 years in terms of trapping. So
Perfect.
yeah, should be good.
That's officially considered abandoned then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Yep.
yeah, anybody tries to lay claim to it, you've got the
Exactly.
you've got the claim.
Yeah. Yeah, that should be good. We'll see.
Perfect. What about you, Chris? What have you had going on this week?
Oh, I got that new sled. Well, new to me sled.
Oh,
up and
that's
running
right.
That Tundra.
Yeah.
And the CDI took a crap on it, which is good. I'm glad it did it right in the driveway.
That's a lot better than being 30 miles out in the backcountry.
Yeah, it's being 50 miles out, like Marcel's talking. But I went and ripped it around the neighborhood and got all pumped. And then
Did you bring Little Man?
No,
he didn't want to go.
No.
I was on the phone with you and you were teasing him about that.
Yeah. No, that's when it went on me actually, because we had the snow days.
Yeah,
and so he had like 2 days off school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we were all pumped on going, and I got the other one. I got the Scandic, but that thing's old trusty. It's just like smoky and good old 2-stroke, and I don't really want to get them on there sucking a bunch of 2-stroke exhaust down.
Right.
This one's a little cleaner, but I went out there to kick it over, and it kicked over, and it just on its face. And did a little homework on it, and I was a CDI, so went and picked up a CDI, picked 2 up.
Yeah,
because I'm like, figured out what I needed to do. It was a pain to change that CDI out.
Yeah.
It wasn't horrible, but if it was cold. So
man.
I got a little practice in that. It's pretty common in some of those years of Tundra. So
What year is it?
It's a 2012. It's a 550 fan.
Gotcha.
And I guess they're pretty notorious for the CDI. But a lot of Tundras are pretty notorious for that, the older styles.
Right.
Like I know
I would say that's a common one I've always heard of.
The OG Tundra, that's why I got rid of my old Tundra, because I just couldn't find CDIs for it anymore. And it just would smoke CDIs. And
are they still manufacturing parts for the 12s?
Yeah, you can find them. Yeah, there's some different, nice. There's some OEM replacements for it, and then there's some like knockoff brands that you can get pretty cheap.
Yeah,
I don't know how much I trust that, but
right. You get a Temu one.
What's the is it BRP?
Yes, BRP.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got 2 of those, and it was they were spendy. I got a deal on them.
Yeah,
from a good friend of ours here in town. But yeah. So got that going. It popped back on, and then yesterday I rode it around a little bit in the neighborhood, and I was like, all right, time to go to work.
Yeah.
Right. Pay for those CDIs.
Well, and it's a good point you made. I'm just going to double back on it. That you bought 2 for anybody running a snow machine or a boat or anything like that. If you have to buy a replacement part once, buy it twice ahead of time, because the next time you might be 30 or 50 miles out in the backcountry or 30 or 50 miles downriver where you need to be. And as long as it's something you can carry with you, that's not, an entire top half of an engine or something like that.
Well, and then the way like those skins come off those new machines is so weird, and I'm not used to that, right? Because I don't have anything that new. Everything's you just tip the cowling up, right? It's old school. You tip the cowling up, and it's hanging by like a piece of aircraft cable or whatever, and you can get in there, getting the whole thing, right? So I'm glad it happened. And I would not want to have to do that at 40 below, because dude, it's hard to get in there, and some of that stuff's pretty, like, I could see it being pretty brittle.
Do you think it'll be easier now that you know how to do it, or?
Oh, of course. Yeah. And the funny thing is too, is like, instead of putting the tools back in the toolbox, I just kept them all out and put them like in a little, like an old, one of those Crown Royal cases.
Yeah.
You got a bunch
of the good old carry everything back.
Dude, that's, yeah. But because I'm like, dude, and it's like, it's all 10 millimeter, but it's all different configurations of 10 millimeter. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
Like you need a long socket to get one of the rear bolts off the mounting bracket, and then you need a crescent wrench to get a different one, and it's such a pain, and it's all just so slow. It's like boiling water, dude. It's so annoying. And I'm like, please don't go on me in the wilderness.
Yeah, this is exactly why I bought new sleds this year. I'm retarded when it comes to mechanical stuff. So,
well, I was gonna take it to a buddy of mine, and he's like, "Yeah, just load it on the trailer, man." And I got it on, and then it just completely died. And he's like, "Yeah, you just need to put one in there." And I'm like, "Oh." Yeah. So and it wasn't horrible. I went out there and got the headlamp on and drug the propane heater over there. But
it wasn't raining on you, was it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It was. Yeah, it was the tail end of that bad night we had.
Yeah.
So
I'll say the one good thing with this storm we've been having lately is at least the temperature's been fairly warm. Like it hasn't really dipped yet. So as far as doing any kind of mechanic and stuff like that,
it's getting nice.
But the wet sucks, dude. Oh, for fingers and dexterity and all that stuff. Ugh. I've been having to work out in it the last 2 days, and it's not fun. Not fun at all.
Yeah.
But well, I'm glad you got that going. I'm hopefully going to be grabbing mine tomorrow evening. I was going to do that tonight, but and then I'm a little worried about mine because that one is an older Tundra, like the original ones.
That's a good reason for running lines with buddies.
Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff alone, and I figured
you want that security.
Yeah, I didn't want to mess around with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You hear stories all the time about guys that have to burn their machines to stay warm.
Yeah.
Because something simple happens out there and you can't get it cranked up. Like, I mean, it can be a bad deal real quick. So
if anybody's interested, there's going to be a 550 Scandic going up here real quick on the marketplace, wide track.
That's if I don't weasel it off you before it reaches marketplace. We'll talk after the show. Oh man,
that's what friends are for, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing I always learn too is like if you're gonna buy something,
don't sell it to a buddy.
Yeah, well, don't sell it to a buddy because then you don't get full price.
Exactly.
If it dies, you feel like you feel like you sold them a dud.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, no, it's I do like those Scandics though. When I do buy like a full blown one, that's what I want is one of those Scandics.
That machine, it's crazy. I literally flipped the primer or the choke, and it's got a primer too. I didn't even prime it and turned the key and it kicked right on, and I took it around the block, and I'm like, that's one thing that's going to be hard to get away from with that thing is the reliability of that thing. It's just been so solid.
What year did you say that one was?
I believe that one's an 08. It's an 08 wide track.
Nice.
And they're a little thirsty, but they're so reliable.
Oh yeah.
And you can haul fuel.
Well, and you can haul anything with that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the benefit of them.
That's something I'm trying to figure out right now is hauling fuel without fuel getting involved in the traps and bait and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Like I got that big trapper box on that Scandic, and I can put all my stuff in there, and then I haul a little sled. But now this one's like a more like of a stand-up kind of sled. It's got the pogo, and it's got the pogo suspension, and it's an arrow, so it's tippy. Yeah. It's not really like a sit-down kind of sled. You got to be a little more involved, and it doesn't really have cargo space. So I'm gonna start getting into some like kind of same thing. Try to figure out how I'm gonna haul things with me.
Yeah,
rifle scabbard and gear, dry gear, and I got the little short otter sled.
That's what I'm dragging.
I have like a huge one that I never use. That's all decked out. It's got like UHMW ribs on the bottom that I like put on there, and then I got this little tiny one that to throw like a coyote or wolf size and down critters in if I'm out calling.
Yeah,
and I can unhook it and maneuver it.
Nice.
I don't need 8 feet. I'm not that successful.
You just gotta aspire for greatness, man. You gotta just go for it.
Dude, I'm just happy where I'm at,
Spend the thousands of dollars and just, when you only get 2 furs at the end of the season, just be like, hey, baby, that's what it takes,
Dude, my wife just keeps giving me the look like, I don't see that sled on Marketplace yet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've burned those graces with my poor wife. I'm like, oh, I'll sell this gun so I can get this one. She just gives me that look like, that's what you said about the last two.
The way I look at it is there's worse things to be wasting money on. If you consider it wasting money, there's worse things.
Way worse things.
That's true.
I don't drink. I very, very rarely drink. I don't smoke. I don't do any drugs. I know guys that spend 3 times what I spend on anything I do just on alcohol alone.
Oh yeah.
So
Dude, back when I was a heavy drinker, like way back in the day, I spent my entire dividend of the bar in one night.
That's crazy, dude.
I wish I was there.
I was everybody's best friend that night. Between KJ's and whatever that one across the street from there. I mean, it's changed names 10 times. It's gone now, actually.
That's probably a good thing. The one I grew up in there.
I think that's the one the Lowe's truck ran over. They caved in the wall to it.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, no, I mean, you waste an insane amount of money when you do that stuff.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Like I look back in my life, like in my younger years, and just it's sad. It's so sad.
Dude, I've got
what I could have had in snow machines and stuff now.
I've almost got like 5 years now. This December is 5 years with no 5 years with no sippies since
Heck yeah, man. Congratulations.
Right after we had little Addie there. And but dude, it's so funny because sometimes like I'll go do my buddies, will give me a hand wrenching on something and they're like, hey, just buy me a case of beer. And I like go buy a case of beer. I'm like, man, I would have rather paid you cash. Like,
oh yeah.
Dude, I went a few cases of beer. You're like, dude, this added up quick. Like,
Yep. And tobacco. Good night. Tobacco's 6 times the price from when way back in the day when I was smoking.
Do you guys dip?
No.
Nah, I use these things right now. And I change brands every so often because every once in a while a new brand will come out and they're like $3 or $4 for one of these cans, and then they get people hooked and then they jack the price and then another new brand comes out. I'm working on getting off those though. That's my project for this early winter season.
I got 8 years of not doing that.
Yeah.
Dude, my wife was like,
you're my inspiration, dude.
Hey, if it probably wasn't for my wife and my kid, I'd probably go hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's good motivation. Yeah.
But the only time I've ever tried anything like that, I was in Sweden and, sitting in a stand and they're pushing Game by you, and I had this old guy give me some warm peach schnapps and give me some snoots. And that thing turned me inside out. I mean,
they will.
Made me dizzy and...
Well, so they have the super strong ones. So like these ones, when you go to a gas station here in town, you can get 3 milligram or 6 milligram.
Oh,
they have like 21 milligram over there. I don't know what they're on, how depressed they are, what kind of stress they encounter that they need to use 21 milligrams.
Yeah.
But my goodness, man.
It completely ruined my day. I mean, I was crawling around, heaving my guts out and all sorts. It was bad.
Dude, me and this guy were out calling last year, and I was like, give me one of those. And he was like, yeah, man. So he like gives me one of those pouches. I put that thing in my mouth and like, I forgot it was in. I'm like, oh, this is pretty tasty. And like, next thing I know, man, it was like, it sounded like a helicopter was taking off in my head.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh no. And I mean, dude, I think it took me like 2 hours to just work that rattle off.
Yeah.
I felt horrible.
Yeah.
And like,
it's not good. And the thing is like, once you're on the rhythm, you don't notice when you're on it. You just notice when you're off it.
Dude, Prudo was like a can and a half.
The easiest way I've ever seen anyone break any of this is come to New Zealand hunting.
Oh yeah, I'm down.
You can't get it there.
I think that's the way that's going to finally get me.
You cannot
to quit. I mean, honestly, I'm going to have to tell my wife that's the only way.
I've sell her on that too.
I mean, baby, you want me to stop this?
This might be.
I'm going to have to go to New Zealand and go hunting. I don't know what to
You can't get that. You can't get any dipping. Any dip like tobacco to put in your lip. I've had clients, and I won't mention names, but he knows who he is. He was. And one in particular, he was buying cigarettes, ripping the filter off them, kind of ripping them open and stacking them, in beside his gum, and that doesn't get you there.
No, it doesn't.
No.
That's wrong kind.
Yeah. And
wow.
Yeah, it is because actually he didn't realize that you can only bring two to 4 cans in with you, and then you have to pay tax if you want more of them.
Oh,
so you can bring them in, but you got to pay tax, and it is a crazy amount. So he went, no, screw this. Why would I pay the tax?
Mm-hmm.
I'll just buy some in the shop when I get out, when I get through customs and immigration. Right. And then went, oh no, too late.
And so, just nationally, they don't allow any of that stuff?
No, there is none of that stuff.
It's actually a good thing.
Every time I go home, I take, I get everyone to bring, even anyone that doesn't dip or anything, I get them to bring it down. So I got a little stack of it there. But when someone's getting a little crazy for it,
right. Here, calm down.
Yeah. But he was visibly shaking. Yeah.
Really shaking.
Oh yeah, he was shaking.
Oh, I've never been that bad. I've been a little pissy, but I've never been like
old Hal. He knows who he is.
Old Hal.
Old Hal. Top
no, but
bloke.
that's the price of these things, man. It's insane. Like for anybody listening, if you still drink heavy, I'm not trying to preach a lesson here, but like you waste so much money. I know it's fun. I know it is, but like, good night. Like I'm the same way now. I hardly drink at all. Like I might have like if I had a 6-pack of beer in the fridge, it would last me 2 months. Yeah. Like, and it's just like these things are really my last vice that I got to tackle. And it's like, even those, I mean, you start doing the math. I mean, eat one of these. Let's say that's $6 a day. Yeah. $6 a day times 31 times 365. I mean, while how many new guns could you buy? Yeah.
Dude.
While we're on the topic, while we're on the topic of $6 a day, coffee.
Yeah. Same thing.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Stop by that shack on the way to work every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And plus the minimum 15% tip. Get out of here. Yeah. I think it's a scam, but whatever.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he's holding a Red Bull up.
Yeah. Right here, buddy.
Oh, I'm not a saint.
No.
Yeah, no. I'm a cheapskate, so I start looking at these things like, that's that's another footer I could have had in the back of the sled this winter.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Well, and you always see those posts too on like social media where it's like, oh, if you just stopped this, you'd have you'd have this or you'd have that, and then it's like it's true. It's actually true. Like if you dedicate the funds to that, and if you just find something else to waste it on, then that's what it is. But like
exactly.
If you want the new snow machine and you make some life changes, guess what? You can afford the new snow machine.
Yep.
You just maybe can't afford the snow machine and dip.
Yeah, or that hunt overseas or something,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of them, I know some are very high dollar, but some are really affordable.
I got a buddy going to Russia on Sunday. He's going over there to hunt tur, and it's $7,000. Big deal.
Yeah.
Most people think that's well out of their reach. It's really not.
No. Yeah. Well, and especially if you quit spending money at the bars and the coffee shops and the gas stations. That's oh man, that was the other thing. I mean, I kind of feel like we're on a high horse right now. Hopefully, nobody gets upset.
Hey, I didn't say I don't like drinking. I just said I don't do it.
Yeah. Right. I used to love it.
Those gas station snacks.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Those taquitos will run you into the broke.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
In more than one way.
Yeah. That's right. They'll break you off a bunch of different ways. Yeah, like, I mean, same thing. I mean, even the hot dogs.
Yep.
Like, good night, $4.50 for a hot dog? Are you kidding me? Like,
I'm generally horrified with the price and what's available in the States for convenience snacks and fast food.
Yeah, don't buy jerky at the gas stations.
Yep. Yeah.
$17 for a bag.
Give your buddy, I can't remember his name, give your buddy that's from South Africa some jerky and see what he says about it. I guarantee he'll think it's absolute trash.
Yeah, compared to biltong.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think it's absolute trash compared to biltong.
I never buy it. I just won't let myself do it. It's terrible. It's full of trash.
I'm hoping to make my own biltong here once I get some seasonings ordered and stuff like that. But that'll be a fun experiment to do.
Yeah, that's good.
Right on. Well, hey, let's dive into a little bit of your backstory here. I'm excited to find out a little bit more about where your introduction to hunting came from and all that stuff. For anybody listening, I'm sure they figured out you're not from around here. You're from New Zealand.
Yeah, originally from New Zealand.
So what's your background in hunting over there as far as coming up in the world?
Grew up in the far north of the North Island.
Okay.
There's actually not a lot of hunting there apart from there's wild pigs, wild horses, and then there's some small game like possums and rabbits and hares and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the old man just basically let us run wild as kids. And I'm the youngest of 4 boys. Well, actually, I got a twin brother, so he's the same age as me, obviously. But there's 2 older, and then a sister older than us as well. But he just always let us run wild, and we're kind of pretty rural, and that just developed into just wanting to kill everything.
Yeah,
I mean, and then he let us get dogs, and all we ever did was chase pigs, and just it developed from there, really, and.
Yeah. Is it true there's no predators over there? Like
there
really?
is no predators apart from very small game in terms of some mustelids like stoats, weasels, ferrets, and feral cats.
Gotcha.
And then we obviously have possums, which are a brush-tailed possum from Australia. Nothing like the American possum. And that's about it, really. Yeah. So yeah, that kind of we just went wild, and we all kind of hunt in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, and I just kind of I branched off and started traveling a bit, and
yeah. It seems like the traveling aspect is a lot more common when you're outside of the States. I've noticed.
Well, yeah. The thing within the States is, I've noticed, I mean, you can literally get in the car or the truck and go to Canada or Mexico or
just another state.
Yeah, you just cross borders. So if you live in New Zealand, you can't do that. You have to go somewhere.
Right.
And Australia has a fair amount of hunting, but it's pretty restrictive on firearms and things like that. So everybody, all the young guys I know and girls, they tend to head to Canada wrangling or, and then end up guiding or whatever. And
okay.
And I just looked at that and went, everybody does that. I'm going the opposite direction. So that led me into Africa, and then I eventually ended up in North America, and there was obviously a fair few countries on the way, but it was last on my list. But when I got here, I kind of figured out, okay, it's probably where I want to be.
Right.
Yeah. It definitely wasn't New Zealand.
Yeah.
For a myriad of reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, we like to think we're pretty special up here,
Yeah, no, so. I mean, I grew up with this idea of Americans being just kind of loud and obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
And I
us? No.
You guys are guilty of all sorts. No. Well, I mean, it comes from the reality is if you're down in New Zealand as an American, you generally we are different down there. We're a little more reserved, and we're not loudly outspoken. So when you bump into Americans, it's generally the case.
Right.
So you kind of are loud, outspoken, from the biggest and greatest country in the world, which I, by the way, completely agree with and believe now.
Yeah.
More than you probably, actually.
Yeah.
And so when you're a Kiwi and you're living in New Zealand, it's like these loud Yanks, There's some more loud Yanks.
Yeah. Yep.
And you do bump into the odd one that is really out the gate, a loud Texan or something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say someone from down south.
Yeah.
Get someone on vacation just a little liquored up.
Oh, yeah.
Super friendly, super loud.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Flying the American flag proudly.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But
I claim this land.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm all for it, but people down there are like, what the hell's that about?
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I see it now and I just laugh.
Yeah.
I'm like, send it.
Right. Yee, brother.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. So did you guys, you said you went to Africa. How long did you spend there?
7 seasons.
7 seasons. Nice.
Yeah. So I had my PH license.
Okay. What part of Africa?
Mostly Southern Africa, South Africa.
Okay. Yeah.
And I used to do some visa runs, next door to other countries and things like that. Ended up in Mauritius and places like that, which is a little island out in the Indian Ocean. But, Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe are right next door. So you used to be able to just hop across the border, get a stamp, come back. But as I did that more and more and, maybe a couple of $100 in the passport wasn't working anymore. Had to actually take a flight. So yeah, it was great. I spent a lot of time in the Eastern Cape. I know the Eastern Cape like the back of my hand.
Okay.
And then spent the last 3 years in the Limpopo. 3 years? I can't remember now. I was last there in 2016, so it's been a while. But
okay.
Yeah, working for an old Danish guy that had been there about 40 years. Holger Jensen. He's a character in himself. He's an awesome old dude that I worked for up there, and great hunting areas, great lodge, great everything, and
nice.
Yeah, it's a blast.
Yeah, we were in don't know if you're familiar with Fort Beaufort.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's where we were hunting.
Yeah.
So right around that area.
Yeah, I've guided a lot around there.
Have you? Yeah.
A guy, Bevan Pinekey, had a piece just down the road there.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know Johnny Fetting by any chance?
Do not.
No. Yeah. It was Alpheaton Ranch is where we were at. He was running the lodge.
Oh, gotcha.
And man, that is such a beautiful part of the world.
Oh yeah,
it really is. I mean, just gorgeous.
Yeah,
I couldn't get enough of it. I want to go back so bad.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah. When I first went there, I was living in Jeffreys Bay. I flew into Port Elizabeth and went down to Jeffreys Bay. I lived there, was just kind of a beach bum for a while, and surfed and spearfished and whatever. But I traveled that area up to East London.
Mm-hmm.
And,
okay, yeah.
You know, up towards the Transguy.
Yeah, our PH was from East London.
Okay, yeah. He'd know who I'm talking about then.
Yeah.
And I stayed with some big pineapple growers there that were also outfitters, and kind of everything in between there, Tarkastad, Somerset East, Graffernet, Craddock, all those places just hammered them flat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, dude. That's awesome.
That's a great place. I'm looking forward to going back. I'm actually going to the Central African Republic next year, and I'm gonna jump off the end of that and go back down to the Eastern Cape and hang out with some buddies. So
nice,
should be good. Yeah,
nice. Yeah, I couldn't believe just all the opportunity there was there.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it was amazing. How hard was it to kind of get into the field of like
my
hunting and stuff
my
like
PH
that?
license?
Yeah.
You had to be able to drink brandy and Coke. I'm serious.
That hard, huh?
Yeah, I mean, anyone that's listening that knows anything about the Eastern Cape or PH licenses will know a guy, Chappie Scott. I went through Chappie Scott school, and you got to be able to drink pretty well.
I can see that.
Yeah, I mean,
I can see that.
Little police coffee and yeah.
Did you ever have to like learn the languages and all of that stuff? Like,
oh, look, I am pretty rusty on Afrikaans, and some of the native there, Xhosa.
mm-hmm.
I learned a lot of the animals to be able to deal with trackers.
Yeah.
But in terms of actually speaking, not really.
Yeah.
All the outfitters speak most native tongues of the area, and Afrikaans. I hate to admit it, but I just learned it off the farmers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, boertjies that just you figure it out after a while. They let you in and you learn it, and you kind of keep quiet about having learned it. You can figure out what's going on,
right,
without appearing to be in the know. Yeah, so that's that.
Yeah,
and if I go back, I guess I'll pick it up fast. But man, I lose stuff like that fast. But
oh yeah,
I do catch myself thinking in Afrikaans every now and then, which is
you really?
Yeah, which is really weird. Yeah.
I've always wondered that about like multilingual people.
Yeah,
like how it is up here.
Yeah,
in the brain.
It's frustrating because I actually did a lot of time in Mexico a few years back, and then you get into a heated situation where I'm supposed to be speaking Spanish to guys, and I start shouting Afrikaans at them, and then it gets really wayward. You get some funny looks. Yeah, not good.
He got the demons.
We might leave this guy alone here.
Yeah. Right. or you say a sentence with both languages mixed in, and that's confusing, to yourself. Yes. It's like, oh my gosh, where are we going?
Yeah.
It's not ideal.
Yeah. No, I've thought about trying to learn Afrikaans before I go back.
It's super easy, actually.
Yeah. Just
immerse yourself in it, listen, ask questions, and try and speak it as much as possible. Most people are too embarrassed to speak it.
Mm-hmm.
I was around a lot of guys in the Eastern Cape during, let's just call it weekends, but time off, whatever, and we just hunted and mixed it up. We just, we ran a riot. And I also dated a girl there, that helped. And you do get a bit of respect out of the Afrikaners. I'm pretty sure you realize the difference between an Afrikaner and an Englishman.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you get a bit of respect, and yeah, they laugh at you, but whatever,
Right.
It's all part of it.
Yeah.
You learn it. You can also catch them out talking behind your back. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's the
Then they stop. Yeah.
Let's charge this guy.
Yeah.
300 rand more.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. What kind of game did you guys chase over there? Pretty much everything? Or?
Yeah, everything.
Did you get on any cool dangerous game adventures?
A few, yeah, nothing crazy, nothing too crazy, but yeah, enough to know that I want more of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually really enjoyed hunting the bushveld up north in Limpopo. Kind of tricky. The thick, tall, tight stuff is kind of. It's not the same as back how I got into big game hunting in New Zealand, but we grew up hunting super tight, thick terrain in the North Island in New Zealand. Seeker deer in Hawke's Bay. Just, I mean, you call them into 5-10 feet and shoot them, because you can't see them closer than that sometimes. And, sometimes it's 30-40 yards, but a lot of the time it's really close. And, hunting the Mapani and stuff like that is pretty thick.
Yeah.
Inside 50 yards a lot. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Kind of snap shooting a little bit more than anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Chasing kudu and stuff like that around is, and then in some of the more open stuff, the eland and I mean, a lot of that is just your hunting sound and that's in front of you. You're just snooping along, just super quiet, super slow, pushing towards animals feeding and eland, with the noise their hocks make when they're moving and things like that. And yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely got the bug to go do the spiral slam.
Yeah.
So bushbuck and
awesome.
kudu and eland and all those. Like, man, it's
all those species. We had really good genetics in the area I was hunting with Holger. We killed some giant bushbuck, really good kudu. Eland are just they're in a league of their own. But the smaller spiral horn stuff like bushbuck and all that, Nyala are really good up there as well.
Yeah. We only saw one buffalo the whole trip.
Oh yeah,
being over there. It was the most random thing too. It was like right on the side of the dirt road.
Yeah,
like as we were driving, it's just a solo. There may have been more back in the brush, but like
there's not a whole lot of free range buffalo in South Africa, to be honest.
Really?
And there's multiple reasons for that, and one of the reasons being if you're high fence, there's a longer hunting season. Then you get into disease control, heart water, and stuff like that. That's another reason. It's great. I love it down there.
Yeah. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Where'd you go after that?
Well, while I was there, I was kind of in and out of Europe. Putzing around in Denmark and Sweden, places like that, and I got through that pretty quickly. There's only so much of that I could do or see. And then Africa, just it had not only grown old on me, but there was certain things I was getting pretty tired of, and there's a danger aspect to South Africa that you just get tired of.
Yeah.
And it's not grossly dangerous, but it's enough that you just get sick of maybe being the target of something because of skin color, or just because you maybe look like you have $5 in your pocket.
Right. Yeah.
And
there's a lot of tension over there.
Yeah, of course. And at first glance, I'm just another American. And Americans come with money, and you're all considered millionaires if you're hunting in Africa. And, it's that same. Yeah, I mean,
I know. I had to keep telling people they're like, you want to add this animal?
Yeah,
can't afford that one, buddy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, exactly.
You're here and you can't afford that.
Yeah.
Scraped by, dude.
Yeah, down here on a budget hunt, just killing what I can and getting out of here.
Yeah. Joke's on me. It took more to preserve the animal and get it home than it did to shoot it.
That's what a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't bring anything out of that country.
Yeah.
Not a thing.
No. It was, and I mean, the rates for taxidermy were cheaper than in the States. Like if I was to shoot an animal here and get the hide tanned and the skull mount done and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, price point, it was way cheaper to do it in South Africa.
Sure.
But just the getting it here aspect is like, oh man, that's what I'm dealing with right now, trying to get all my mounts back.
Euro mount everything you possibly can.
Yeah.
And then,
Yep.
I don't know what else.
Yeah. The only thing I did all Euro mounts and then just flat skins.
Yeah.
Except for we shoulder mounted my wife's Impala.
Cool.
Because it was a beautiful specimen.
Yeah.
It had like it's super wide.
Awesome. Flared out.
And then on the very top, it had just the slightest little
Nice.
Dip forward.
Oh yeah, cool.
And so
yeah.
it was very different than mine, you
Yeah.
know, and I was just like, that is really cool.
Awesome.
And so
yeah. Some of the species like Nyala, you know, things with pretty capes. Bushbuck are normally pretty ugly. They normally lost a lot of hair due to rubbing ticks off and things like that.
Yeah.
You'll probably notice if you shoot one, the back of their neck is normally completely bald and shiny.
No kidding.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they just rub themselves a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the lodge we were in, they had good night. Probably 8 of them.
Yep.
Shoulder mounted and kind of above this big bay window there.
Yeah.
And, beautiful, beautiful specimens, but like I guess I couldn't see the back of their neck. They were way up high, so maybe that was the case, and I just didn't know.
A lot of them rub the back of the neck down to kind of just above the shoulder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just bare skin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So then you came across the big pond at some point.
Yeah. It's funny. I actually I ended up. Where did I end up? Oh yeah, I ended up helping a guy out down around Wasilla Palmer area. But a girl hit me up on Facebook upon seeing something I posted. I think from memory, and she was doing a haul road caribou hunt. Had drawn the South Coldfoot moose tag.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and was like,
tag.
yeah, and was like, hey, if you're doing nothing and you want to do something, come hang out. So I did. I came up, and I guess in a way I kind of guided her to kill those caribou because she was obviously bow hunting in the archery corridor.
Mm-hmm.
She'll hate me saying this, but I mean, she would have been absolutely hosed without me, and on the moose as well, obviously. But yeah, she'll hate me saying that, but my buddies will laugh about it because some of them know her, and she'd have been hosed. I promise you. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thankfully you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, we could very easily have killed a grizzly bear on the side of the road on this side of Adigan Pass, and we kind of snuck in on it, and then she chickened out too, which was kind of disappointing to me because I'm like, send it. This is the first grizzly bear I've ever seen, you know, just into it. Flick an arrow at it. Who gives a crap, you know?
Yeah.
But she was like, she didn't want to get into it with this grizzly, so I kind of tuned her out for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, whatever.
No second date.
Yeah. There was no dating, I can promise you. I can promise you that. This is hunting only.
Hunting only.
Yeah. She's a bit older than me. Cool chick. She's just not my type.
Mm-hmm. So you guys were successful there.
Yeah,
and then,
killed a couple of caribou. 2 caribou and a moose.
Nice.
And yeah, and then I kind of just morphed into, this is kind of cool. And I was bouncing around between Canada, Mexico, and the States, just maxing out my visa everywhere. Canada, I can stay in for. I have to apply for a visa there, but I can stay there. I'm pretty sure for 6 months.
Okay.
I wasn't applying for that visa though. I don't think I could only stay there for 3 months.
Gotcha.
I could only stay 90 days, 3 months in the States, and then I can stay 6 months on a Kiwi passport in Mexico. So that was no problem.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it was.
Yeah, so there's your whole year.
That's a year exactly. Yeah. So I was bouncing around and
nice,
just generally annoying wild animals. Yeah. So it was.
What a life, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you end up working for outfitters down there in Mexico too then?
Made a really good connection there who I'm still hooked up with. A great guy, Victor Morales. He's we're doing coos deer and mule deer and desert bighorns and all sorts of stuff. Just jumped deep in it straight off the bat. And met a bunch of cool dudes, the Mountain Project guys I met down there, did a few hunts alongside them. And yeah, just generally, you know, the whole time I'm doing all this, I'm also building up a client base, whether it be from guiding people in Africa or, you know, doing stuff in Europe or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it just morphed into grabbing destinations and contacts and clients and putting it all together. And yeah, it kind of started working into my favor, and it helps, you know, networking helps a lot when you go into a situation inadvertently, or you know, you're asking a favor of someone, or you're like, hey, I want to be in your camp, this is what I bring to the table. It's always a yes, it's never a no. So
yeah,
Yeah, but with Victor down there, I kind of just, I was down there for 6 months and just, we did life together. I mean, he's got a missus and a kid, and we're just living together, and just everywhere he went, I went, and
Nice.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
Just getting after it, murdering stuff.
Yeah.
Had some wild experiences down there. I mean, he's connected. He's more than connected down there, and we went places that, I mean, you guys can't go, and
Sure.
just wild experiences. And Mexico is totally underrated, and it's a lot safer than most people make it out. There's definitely ways to do it and ways not to do it. And you guys are definitely at a disadvantage being gringos.
Yeah.
That's one of the first. That's one of the first things I'd establish is that I'm not a gringo. And they, of course, they didn't know what a Kiwi was, and most of them didn't know where New Zealand was. But I made that distinguishment, or that distinguishing factor, or whatever. I don't know. I made that about myself, and it made a difference. Yeah,
I can imagine.
Yeah, plenty of Mexicans have been kind of screwed over by Americans at some point, sometime.
Yeah,
and if they haven't, they'll tell you they have.
Right.
Yeah. So
it makes sense. Yeah. I've always wanted to go down there. Honestly,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's I mean, I haven't heard of all the opportunities. I'm sure there's a lot that I haven't heard of. But I mean, as far as like the desert bighorn and the Coues deer and stuff like that.
Yep.
I mean, huge.
There's a bunch of species down there that not a lot of people know about either. There's bison. There's pronghorn. Pronghorn you can't hunt at the moment. They're pretty hard done by. So bison, there's Aoudad down there. There's what else have we got? Gemsbok, oryx.
Oh, really?
Yep.
No kidding.
What else have I run into down there? I don't know. A few other species that surprised me. Yeah, it's an interesting place. It's awesome.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, maybe I'll have to get a trip down there set up at some point.
Yeah.
So what's if you don't mind me asking, what's a trip down there typically run as far as like for your average Joe, not like a special package or anything like that.
Your average Joe, you don't want to get into spending any less than $5,000 on a Coues deer hunt. I don't believe. I'm not a massive fan of super cheap budget hunts. They're normally super cheap and budget for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm all for it, but then don't be surprised if you get some kind of average deal out of it, or there's not a lot of deer on the property, or you shoot a dink or something like that. We used to run Coues deer hunts guided for 6,500, and I mean, we were killing great deer. I mean, we were killing deer over 100 inches all the time, up to 120 inches.
Wow.
Exactly. So yeah. And then getting into mule deer, free range stuff, you're looking at 15 to 17 right now for a good hunt with a realistic chance of 180 inch deer. 15 to 17,000. Desert bighorns, free range on the mainland, 70 grand.
Yeah.
If it's anything less, you should call me and ask me why. And there's a lot of
because you're probably just going to go on an armed camping trip in Mexico.
Or you might actually drive through a high fence in the dark and not know.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of sneaky high fence kind of deals going on, and I'm not going to start naming names, but everyone down there, apart from two outfitters I know, are very sneaky about desert bighorn.
Wow. I would say, and a lot of that, to my understanding, it doesn't a lot of that stuff run off of like landowner tags and stuff like that.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's really specific with who you're going with.
Exactly. And I mean, I don't want to get too deep into it because I can throw people under the bus pretty easily and create all sorts of problems. But
we don't want to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, there's legal high fence tags, there's legal free range tags. They are very similar.
Yeah.
If I look at them side by side, I can tell the difference pretty easily. Now, that being said, there is some really good high fence hunts, actually. You are going to hunt. The rams are definitely going to be there. You're very likely to kill in the size range you can afford because obviously they're priced on size.
Gotcha. Kind of like gators down in the south.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, a much more expensive version of that.
Yeah, or a high fence elk in Idaho,
yeah.
which a lot of people don't know. There's a lot of that goes on. High fence whitetail in Texas, same.
Yeah.
But high fence hunts are pretty damn expensive.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not a whole lot into booking them or guiding them. I'm just not into it at all. There's too much really good free range hunting to be had.
Yeah.
With very exceptional trophies. Yeah. And that goes for mule deer as well.
Gotcha.
We've killed some giants free range, into the 230 range, free range, totally free range. So
that seems like a much, I don't know, more. That's the option I would go with. I'll just say that. Without going too further much into it.
Well, a 230-inch deer behind high fence is probably going to cost you your house.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I don't think the wife would agree with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I was actually involved in a high fence outfit that's very reputable, actually, for both bighorns and mule deer. Coos deer are not very easy to high fence. They're not very receptive to feeding programs, confined spaces, anything like that. They don't do well. They don't tend to breed in captivity very well. There's not a whole lot you can feed them from a feeder that they're interested in. But yeah, I was involved in early days, a place down in Obregon, which is about 3 hours south of Hermosillo. I was involved in helping set up snares and all that kind of stuff for a bunch of wild dogs and coyotes they're having problems on.
Oh, gotcha.
And cage traps, catching bobcats and mountain lions. That was interesting.
How was it live trapping a mountain lion?
Yeah, they're not a whole lot of fun in a cage trap.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a good time. I mean, maybe from outside.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting looking in, but you just know you don't want to mess with it.
Oh yeah.
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 They're not real pleasant. But the dogs actually were what really surprised me. The dogs were sharper than I would say wolves up here.
No kidding.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I actually never snared one, and I shot. The only ones I shot were totally by chance. We had actually a female dog in our camp that was on heat.
Yeah.
And that's actually how we shot dogs.
Wow.
Other than that, yeah, they were sharper than wolves up here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What's the origin of those things? Like, where do they
they're just pavement specials from town.
Really?
Oh yeah.
And then they just kind of disperse.
Yep. Disperse, start chasing game and wild stock, domestic stock, and they get shot at a bit and chased around, and then they figure, well, we better escape here and keep on the move, and they breed very prolifically.
Are they aggressive at all?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Towards people?
I'm not sure in general, but I shot one night and wounded it, and I went to go and have a look at it and didn't realize I hadn't killed it properly, and that thing chewed on the end of the barrel. Oh yeah. Yep.
Jeez.
Man.
Oh yeah.
I think I was reading somewhere, maybe it was in like some kind of documentary or something like that, but it only takes one generation to completely undo all the domestication. Like if they go wild.
Really?
Yeah. And sometimes less than that. Like sometimes some dogs, like give them a couple years out there and they're just completely feral again.
Oh yeah. Last winter I actually trapped a dog in Canada that was completely feral. I actually believe it or not, I caught it in a 330.
Really?
Oh yeah. And they're on property that's surrounded by native land and not too far from town. I can say this, it's high level, Alberta. And my buddy's property there, we hunt whitetail there, and I mess around trapping a bit there and stuff, and yeah, we have problems with dogs there.
No kidding.
I mean, my buddy Kurt that was there with me, when we trapped that thing, I called him over and he came out to look at it. I mean, that thing was smelly and nasty, and yeah, it was crazy.
Man.
Looked a bit, you could tell it had some form of Labrador in it. And then some kind of payment special buff-headed something or other, because it was kind of pretty square jaw on the thing. Yeah.
It's got that pit bull.
I'm loving that pavement special.
I was going to say, that's a good statement.
Oh, yeah.
I could think of some other areas to use that.
Yeah, right.
Well, I could tell you
we ain't going to go there right now.
Yeah. I could tell you some wild stories about getting rid of dogs in Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, they're running rampant down there chasing game. A lot of the areas we hunt are right near towns and villages, And so, I mean, have you been there, Chris?
At Mexico?
Yeah.
I've spent a fair bit of time in Mexico. Not places like where you're talking about, but
yeah. I mean, there's dogs everywhere. Everyone's dog's just out running around and breeding with everyone else's dog. So pavement's
it's a little different there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a buddy who's had some family that lived down there on the coast and the west coast, and that was pretty cool. But I saw a lot of what you're talking about with the wild dogs, and I'm like, who owns those dogs? They're like, nobody.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We used to go down there and do some fishing and hang out, and they had a ranch, and then of course I'm from California, so like every Californian, when you're like pre-18, you jam down to Tijuana, right? Because you can go do whatever you want, and no one hounds you about it.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
we did a lot of partying, but you're always curious too. I'm from the mountains, right? So I'm always like, what's past all this?
Yeah.
Like city stuff.
Yeah.
Mexico gets pretty remote pretty quick.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful too.
Yep. There's some rugged stuff there.
It's a beautiful culture too.
Yeah.
Good food and amazing people too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You start bumping into the cowboys way back in the middle of nowhere in those mountainous ranches. For example, like up near, it's about 4 hours north and east of Hermosillo, a place called Huachinera and Wasabas and places like that. You get in the mountainous areas and you end up over in the border with Chihuahua. And those guys don't ever come out of the mountains, maybe once or twice a year.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Real cowboys.
Oh, they're real cowboys.
I work with a guy here in town in Fairbanks from Chihuahua. And
really?
He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's just an old cowboy.
Yeah. Yeah.
If anyone's listening and they work in the construction business, they know who I'm talking about. Good dude. Cool family.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's always trading stories with me about, he spent some time in my neck of the woods too, down south.
Yeah.
Good dude.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's wild back there. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You run into some interesting things hanging on walls back there. Big spotted cats.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
In your travels, did you do much hunting in the lower 48, or did you pretty much stick to like Alaska, Canada, kind of more northern region?
I actually guided a bunch of elk hunts in Colorado.
Okay.
For a guy down there based out of Ignacio, near Durango there. Cheap hunts, kind of bow hunters mostly, low budget hunts, bow hunters mostly. Didn't kill a whole lot of elk because there was not a whole lot of elk to kill.
Right.
But generally, I was there actually. There's another Kiwi guide and then a couple other guys that would pull in from New Zealand that would help out. And we'd get a few things killed, but nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
A few years there. That's about it. I've messed around in Wyoming a bit with my buddy Kurt there. Messed around with the odd trap or two and just blowing coyotes over, and we mess around with rifles down there a bit, and that's awesome fun down there. Got a few points here and there, so
nice.
Yeah,
nice. That's the hard part. Yeah, building those points.
Yeah, there's where there's a will, there's a way, and if you stick to it, there you don't need a subscription to Hunting Fool to build up your points and do all that. There's plenty of people that will help you around all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And it's not as tricky as you might think. And there's ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, let's take a break real quick.
Yeah, cool.
We'll keep running.
100%.
Hammer Bullets produces what we at the Northern Hunter consider to be the most premium and best working monolithic bullets on the market today. These bullets are easy to load, extremely accurate, and best of all, they're always in stock and ready to ship. The guys at Hammer designed them so that after penetrating the hide of an animal, it sheds its petals, initiating a massive energy dump while retaining the rear shank for maximum penetration. These bullets are built with 100% focus on how they perform on game, and their proprietary designs produce great BCs with specialized pressure grooves for amazing inherent accuracy and speed. They have a minimum expansion velocity of 1,800 feet per second, which allows for long-range shots, but with no maximum velocity, making them perfect for every cartridge from your granddaddy's old 30-30 to the high-velocity round like the Weatherby 3378 without having to worry about your bullet failing. To view their expansive selection and find the perfect match for your hunting needs, go to hammerbullets.com and use discount code TheNorthernHunter to drop the hammer on your next adventure.
So that sounds like a world of adventure you just described for us in the last hour. I don't even know where to begin picking that apart, but at some point, sounds like you decided to settle in the good old US of A. Talk about that, kind of what led to your seeking out your residency here and whatnot.
Yeah, so bouncing around, between Canada and Mexico and the States, kind of maxing out, visa opportunities and all that kind of stuff. And also with traveling back to New Zealand, and at the same time dating a girl, figured that I wanted to be up here, and particularly in Alaska. And then with the onset of COVID, that whole 9 yards.
Oh yeah.
I decided to jump in, put all my eggs in one basket, and be here.
Nice.
So
it was right around 2020 then.
2020, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was married for a minute there, and obviously takes 12 months to become a resident of Alaska for what I cared about, which was the hunting side of things.
Yep.
Permanent resident of the USA now, green card and all that idea. And
congratulations.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. While it lasts.
Yeah.
we'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah. No, it's good. And going for I've got a great lawyer now, and it's all good. It's just not finalized, but so that's kind of how that came about, is traveling enough to know there's certain things about the States, and then more so Alaska, that I really like, and wanted to do life here.
Yeah. It's a very different climate than a lot of those other places you were hanging out in.
Yeah, it's got a mix. Climate wise, I mean, I love cold winters, and I've always wanted to trap cold, good cold country. That was actually something that I was interested in since I was a kid, and so that's here, and Canada as well, obviously. But I actually looked at Canada a lot because it's very easy for me to be there on a New Zealand passport. We fall under the same Queen, King, Crown, all that,
right?
Whatever you want to call it. So it's actually not very hard for me to get a job there, get a visa, a working visa, and 5 years in, I'm done, I'm hosed,
right?
I'm sorted, So, but it just never appealed to me because so many other people were doing it. There's a bunch of young Kiwis that go and do that, and whatever. It just, I just, out of that alone, I was not going to do that. I want to do something different. And
carve your own path a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, just do something different. And that was kind of Africa as well, but I mean, there is something about the States. I constantly say to people, it is the greatest country on earth, and unless I think a lot of you guys know it and believe it and everything, but I don't think you fully understand it until you travel some other places and live some other places.
Yeah.
I've lived in a bunch of first and third world countries, and I mean, what you've got here, even with the current BS we're dealing with, politics and all that, you've still got something here that is not offered anywhere else in the world.
Yeah. It's a special place.
Yep.
It really is. And I think so many people just take advantage of it, and being raised in such a place. I mean, where, for the most part, unless you join the military or you travel in some way, you're not even going to be exposed to how bad it can be.
Oh yeah.
And so from day one, you're born into this, and you think your problems are the worst that exist.
Yeah.
And none the wiser that there's people in other parts of the world that would kill to have your problems.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, and you of all people would know. I mean, good night. Yeah. You've been all over the place.
Yeah. No, but there's going back to the climate and the all that kind of stuff here. Alaska offers a lot of variation. From midsummer to midwinter is a massive difference. Oh yeah. So I actually prefer the winters here. Summers are just whatever, and I'm quite often elsewhere now. It's not for long. I'm a month or so away in summer or whatever, and
And most Alaskans are like, I'll never leave in the summer.
Yeah. You can get better sun elsewhere, and you can get less bugs elsewhere.
Yeah, good night.
And the water is still cold.
Right,
You know?
right.
Yeah.
That's my wife. My in-laws down in Michigan, they're sailors on the big lake.
Oh, yeah.
And so my wife's always bugging me to leave during the summertime. And that's the sailing season. We got to go sail Lake Michigan. And I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Nah, that's salmon fishing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's this, that's that. And like, I'm not leaving during the summertime. Like, can we go sail in December or January? Like, no. They get winter there. But
yeah, no, winter is where it's at here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What got you fitting into the professional guiding here in Alaska? I mean, obviously you've done that your entire life. And so, I mean, was it just like through connections here and you just kind of jumped right into it, or?
Yeah, kind of jumped right into it, I guess. Ended up getting my assistant guide license through a guy down in Eagle River.
Okay.
Worked for him for a few years, it wasn't that great to say the least. Moved on to bigger and better things, and I'm involved with just a couple of guys now that are fantastic. Two of the best guys that I believe in the industry. I think we put on the best sheep hunting in the state by far, for a number of reasons. And yeah, just that's where I'm at. You know, sheep, caribou, grizz in the brooks, and then some other stuff, and brown bears in 9, and used to do some goats in 6. Still tentatively do, just trying to figure some things out there with that. But
nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was kind of curious about how, like, each country and even sometimes each state, if you try to bounce around in the states and stuff like that, the rules are so different, and the regulations and things and requirements and requirements that. It's like it's really cool to hear that you've actually been in that world in so many different places.
Yeah.
And it's I'm sure a lot of people would love to do that if they have the gumption and the desire, and
yeah, there's Africa, I did my PH license in Africa, and that was kind of, a drinking course, really. But it really was. I take nothing away from Chappie's school or anything, but it really is not. It's not too difficult, and you do a lot of drinking, and that's pretty much it. But the thing is, for me, it's all none of it's real difficult, because my real passion is animal behavior. And if you can get sharp on animal behavior, no matter where you go or what you're doing, you'll figure it out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually asked Chris on the way over here about something about lynx, because I know a bit about lynx, and I've trapped a few of them and whatever. But for me, I'm always asking questions, because sometimes someone else's take on something will teach you something. You don't know it. You never know everything. You can always learn something off anybody.
Right.
And especially someone who spends time around a certain animal,
Oh, sure. Chris spends plenty of time around lynx. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. And so hence the question.
Just look at his Instagram.
For a guy that's allergic to cats, huh?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
He likes to suffer.
Yeah. Oh, crazy. Yeah, animal behavior. It's major, and it's overlooked by probably 90% of hunters I meet. 90% of hunters and guides.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Guides.
I've always done it this way, so this is how I always do it. This is how my dad did it. This is how we hunted them. Yeah, well, you can stick that too, because, I mean, the reality is 90% of hunters I've met, including guides, are not well-versed in what I call animal behavior. They've got a bit of an idea, but yeah.
It's like you said, they're more just falling back on habit. This is how it's always worked in the past. This is how it'll always work in the future, kind of thing.
Yeah, there's so much that plays into animal behavior. I mean, it's weather, it's moon phase, it's time of day, it's all sorts.
Yeah.
Every animal acts different, and wind and rain and heat and all those things.
Right. And that's I guess what would allow you to read what they're going to be doing before you even expose yourself to wasting time.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, exactly. You don't need to waste time in a certain country, or go to get in your tent and sleep. It's not even point looking. Right now they're not going to be moving or whatever. It's a key part of having success is that behavior, knowing what to do, when, and how, and why.
Yeah. What would you say is the best avenue for someone looking to increase their knowledge in that? I mean, obviously, boots on ground, just real world experience.
Time in the field and be around someone that knows what they're doing. I mean, and I'm not talking about knowing what they're doing, but, it's got 20 years experience or something like that. There's certain guys that are really good with certain species. Target them.
Yeah.
And then, some people are not interested in certain stuff. Obviously, you're not going to talk to them about a certain species. You're going to hammer them on what they know best.
Right.
And there really is no one, and I was taught this from a young age, there really is no one you can't learn something from.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Yeah.
And, and one thing I started doing probably in my late 20s, I started doing this, kind of around the time that we were talking a little bit earlier in the green room when I realized how big the pool of knowledge was and how little I knew about it. Before that, I thought I knew everything. Yeah. And then my eyes were open.
Yeah, the quicker you learn that, the quicker you'll actually learn.
Yeah.
And what I told you guys earlier about Dad always telling me is you never learn anything while your mouth's open. And by that is meaning while you're talking, you're not learning.
Exactly.
So,
and the thing I like to do now, and the good thing about having a podcast is I get to conversate with a lot of different people.
Yeah.
And even if somebody's talking about something I know about, I could know intimately about the topic.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's some form of ballistics or some animal that I've hunted a lot. And they're schooling me on knowledge, as far as like, this is how I do it, this is how I do it.
Yeah.
And I could sit there and be like, yeah, I know about that trick. I know this, I know that.
Yeah.
But there could be one gold nugget in that conversation that I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
And if I sit there and say, I know, yeah, I do that too. Yep. They're going to sit there and be like, why am I talking to this guy?
Exactly.
He knows everything. Why would I talk to him?
Yeah.
And like, you got to be willing to like find that gold nugget.
Exactly.
And that's something I think a lot of people can value or can gain value from is not trying to prove yourself when somebody's explaining something to you.
Exactly.
Talk about what you know after the fact.
Yeah.
But
shut up and listen.
Yeah, get that gold nugget, man. Yeah. Like expand your skills.
Yeah,
like
100%.
This is the best part about hunting in general is that there's no end to what you can learn.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I love it. I learn new stuff every single day.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful.
There's a piece of technology out there called a cell phone.
The wealth of all human knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's Google and YouTube. YouTube's actually amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I have actually, with trapping, I've learned a bundle. I've learned a bundle of, just random videos. There's a guy, I don't even know what state he's in, maybe Minnesota or Michigan or something like that. He's a 330 maniac on YouTube. He's just a wizard at using 330s for beavers.
Nice.
And I mean, I wouldn't be able to catch a beaver today.
You better be with a name like 330 Maniac.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be able to catch a beaver today if it wasn't for, guys like that. I mean, I actually learned to trap beavers off a buddy in Canada where I hunt whitetails. And, but refining things because they weren't working here that I already, things I already knew weren't working here. Refining things off watching what 330 Maniac, well, I don't even know his name, but what he was doing, sit in bed at night with my girlfriend watching videos. And
if we can find him, I'll tag him on the episode.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah,
he's unreal. Yeah, and just small things like that,
Mm-hmm.
Great tool.
Yeah, it really is. But I like what you said earlier about finding someone.
Yeah,
because honestly, you can run into dead ends.
Yeah.
on digital research.
Yeah,
and it'll only take you so far. You start seeing a lot of repetitive knowledge. You start seeing where people will teach you up to a certain point, but then that's kind of it for some things.
Yeah.
In some context, it'll go farther, but like, really having a mentor is huge.
Yeah.
Like having somebody to show you the ropes.
There's a lot of regurgitation in like media.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Oh yeah.
And you have a lot more people that are investing time in the keyboard than
getting
out.
Right.
Yeah. So anything like that, you have to take, with a grain of salt. But and the other thing too about hunting videos, they bore the life out of me. I mean,
Really?
Oh yeah, I can't watch hunting videos because it makes me so. I'm over it within minutes. But guys like Billy Moles and who else am I thinking of here? Billy Moles comes to mind, maybe because he's got a lot out there, and I have not watched all of his stuff, and I gotta say I find his stuff boring. But I mean, it's only because I'm doing what he's doing, and I've seen it through my own eyes. And
Sorry, Billy.
he won't mind me saying that, but the reality is, if you watch his stuff, you will. I'm sure I've learned things. I can't rattle off anything right now, but I'm sure I've learned something. And I actually just watched a video of a trad bow hunter recently who I'm not a real fan of, and I only watched it because I'm not a fan of him. But I saw a piece of equipment he had, and I'm like,
Yep.
I'm gonna latch onto that.
Yep.
And,
a little gold nugget.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So yeah, gear and animal behavior is major for me, but gear as well is a great way to look at gear.
What's your take on gear as far as like what's necessary, what's needed, what's not, kind of stuff? Like, because I know you, in the experienced hunting world, you get some guys that are all about, they're just gearheads and they want to carry as much as they can and be as convenient as they can, and some guys are like, bare minimum, this is what you need. We're out here to do something. Like,
yeah, I'm a little crusty on gear. I mean, I don't own. I'm going to go into brands here, but I literally don't own a piece of Kuiu gear, and I'm not saying that because I hate Kuiu and whatever. I haven't discovered anything there that I need to go to, because what I have right now is working for me. And I mean, I can run you through what I use on every single hunt, and it is virtually the same unless it's a super wet hunt that waders are worn or Helly Hansons are necessary. But worldwide, my pants are the same. My tops are the same. Obviously, I run a little bit of down gear up here, and then I recently was given some Stone Glacier rainwear that I went to this season because it's lightweight. And I have run Swazi gear out in New Zealand in the past, and it's great rainwear, but it's super heavy, so I don't want to carry it around on a sheep hunt. And yeah, I mean, I can run you head to toe on what I use and what I would suggest, but it doesn't always work for everybody. And I'm definitely not a gearhead.
Yeah,
I mean, your smarts will save you more than your gear will.
That's true.
It's a fact. I mean, you can have an idiot die in some pretty good gear.
And
that's what it is.
Yeah, it's true. And you can have somebody that survives or even thrives with minimal gear. And that's just depends on how you use what you have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't carry a whole lot of gear, but what I carry is necessary. And I don't carry a whole lot of comfort gear. When I'm doing sheep hunts, I don't even do hot drinks or anything like that.
Yeah.
And there's reasons for that, and it's because, I mean, one of the reasons is I don't like comforts. I think comforts, for me, creates complacency. I'll just sit here and it'd be nice to sit here and have a hot cup of coffee. Most people do coffee, and I hate the stuff and I won't drink it. But if I sit here and have a coffee, I don't know how many opportunities I'll miss out on, or I don't know, I should be setting camp somewhere or this or that. It's just do the necessary things to achieve the goal. I'm a little strange like that, I guess.
Yeah.
Because clients always want to bring, some creature comforts, which I always allow them. And I don't want to sound like a dictator saying I allow them, but I do go through their packs. I make sure they're not carrying a bunch of rubbish they don't need, because ultimately, if everything goes sideways, I end up carrying that stuff.
Right.
Or when we kill, they're no help to me because they're carrying a pile of trash in their bag they don't need.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's
a good point. Yeah, and I think a lot of people overestimate what they need too. And they'll try to prepare for every situation.
Yeah, for sure.
And overthink everything and end up with 10, 20 pounds of extra gear that they never end up touching even, and I get guilty sometimes of bringing extra clothes, simply because I've frostbitten my toes before and other things. And so like sometimes I'll bring just an extra pair of socks when maybe I don't even need it, or something just to layer up a little bit more than probably is even necessary.
Yeah.
But a lot of the hunts that I'm doing, in most cases, I'm not super weight restricted.
Yeah, sure.
And so it's kind of neither here nor there whether I bring it or don't.
Yeah,
you know, it doesn't affect me getting to where I'm trying to go.
Yeah,
one way or the other. Whether that's flying, boating, wheelering, even some of the places I'd hike to.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, you see that a lot where it's and it's almost like people don't think about what it's going to weigh when you get an animal down.
Yeah.
You know, what does a hide weigh?
Yeah.
What does that meat weigh?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's you've got to add that on your way back out. Yeah,
Exactly.
your food's going to be depleted, and you'll lose that weight. But there's a lot of other aspects.
It's like being in a boat or on a 4-wheeler. You bring all this stuff because you can, and then throw a moose in that.
Yeah.
You know, like that could be problematic, or you're leaving gear behind.
Exactly.
We've done it. I mean,
100%.
And that's way different than like a sheep hunt. But like, I've loaded my wheeler up because I'm like, oh, I have all this space, and I'm like, where the heck am I going to put this thing now?
Yeah,
like,
There's always a maximum.
Yeah. And the maximum might not be weight. The maximum might be bulk.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like on a wheeler, you're not really weight restricted. You are to an extent, but it's pretty forgiving. But you're bulk restricted.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're carrying a meat wagon behind that thing.
Yeah.
You've only got the front and rear racks.
Yeah.
Even with the extensions, that's not a whole lot of gear.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and same with a boat. Like, we have braided rivers here. They're shallow in a lot of places. You can't have a boat that goes, needs 10 inches of water all the time to run because you loaded too much gear in it. Like,
exactly.
You might think it's kind of ridiculous on your way out to camp when all you have is one tote and a dry bag.
Yeah.
And you've got all this room in the boat that seems unused. And you're like, man, I could have brought a whole lot more stuff. But you're not thinking about what it looks like with a moose in there.
Yeah.
You know? So.
And this is not even considering pilots, putting us into some sketchy little strips.
Yeah.
And they, they pick up your pack and throw it in the back of the cub and give you a funny look.
Uh-huh.
And we're not overloading cubs or anything, but there's an element of danger to it at all times.
Oh yeah.
Operating those things. And yeah, I don't try. I go through every client's pack, and I can normally shuck 15 to 20 pounds of rubbish.
Really?
People don't need. Yeah.
No kidding.
I mean, books.
Yeah.
When you bring in a cell phone anyway, download a damn book.
Right.
You don't need a paperback. It's just small things like that.
It's going to get ruined anyway out there.
That's not coming back.
Yeah.
It's going to end up in a fire.
I know. Yeah.
TJ won't mind me saying this. I got TJ on a sheep hunt this year. He carried a paperback around with him, and he's a gorilla of a human, so it was all right. But he wrecked my damn trekking poles too.
Oh no.
He's like 230 pounds of ex-state wrestling champion.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard on gear. It's kind of funny. Yeah. I finally biffed the last one away in the trash the other day and sent him a message that I'd said goodbye to it.
Oh.
We're having a laugh about that. But yeah, just a lot of small things. You got to have some creature comforts when your chips are down, have to be able to sit around and have the client just chill out and, be able to, it doesn't all have to be held, but we're not out there trying to, be super comfortable. We're, trying to kill sheep or grizz or whatever.
Yeah, it's not a cabin getaway.
No.
Like, yeah.
Mm-mm.
And a big one that I found, I rarely do hot drinks out on hunts too. What I actually started carrying because I am a caffeine fiend.
Yeah.
I love my coffee. I love my Red Bulls and Reigns and stuff like that. Those things need to go as well as the other stuff we were talking about earlier in the episode. But regardless, they sell these pills.
Oh yeah.
At Walmart, they're like 200 milligrams of caffeine each, and it's like I think they're called Stay Awake.
Oh yeah.
And there is thousands of milligrams of caffeine in this bottle.
Oh yeah.
And it weighs nothing. Weighs absolutely nothing. Thousands of milligrams. I mean, you could go a month out there with that bottle, and you never need to drink coffee. You never need.
Does it have a little like drip feeder or something? Like a little. What do you call it?
Just put it in.
Or do you just take a swig out of it?
I wish. Just put some water in there to dissolve it down. Take a shot. No, they're just pills, and and there's. I think you do have to show your ID to buy them because it's.
Damn.
I mean, you could overdose on caffeine. I'm sure.
Yeah.
With those things, but they're great. You pop one in the morning when you're just getting going, and by the time you're maybe done making breakfast and stuff like that, you're the headache's gone and you're ready to go. Like, so it's,
the thing. There's one thing about coffee that drives me nuts, and it's on brown bear hunts.
The smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really drives me nuts.
Mm-hmm. That's one reason I don't like it either, to be honest with you. It's very, very it travels.
Yeah, everyone has to get up and have their coffee, and I just about lose my marbles.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's one thing that drives me nuts with like you take somebody calling. I've even gotten on Jay about this in the past.
You
Like,
did.
because you don't, when you chew, and I mean, and I've been guilty of this in my life. I mean, I used to chew like crazy. Like,
yeah.
but you don't smell it anymore.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
This is actually a good gold nugget to drop in this episode. Go for it.
well,
This is
and this is
good for
this
people.
is personal. Actually, me and Carson were just talking about this.
Mhm.
So like him and I, we do some like night calling and stuff, and we're
Yeah.
calling canines, right? And we're getting our stuff out of the truck, and I can smell him from the other side of the cab.
No good.
And it smells delicious, right? But I'm not a fox or a coyote, right?
Just say I smell delicious.
Yes, no, I said it smells delicious. You smell delicious,
Easy,
James.
easy.
Hey.
Stay on that side of the table, please.
Love you, buddy. There any room over there? No, but that stuff is very strong.
It is, yeah.
And it's dude. And I have had guys look at me like very offended,
Mhm.
but it's like we're hunting.
Yeah.
Like, get that out of
Yeah.
your mouth. Like,
Yeah.
well, it's the same reason I don't go like wash my hair
Yeah.
or with shampoo or put
Yep.
You can-
cologne and deodorant on
you
before
can-
I'm going
yeah.
calling all night. It's
Yeah.
the same. And like there's a lot of people that think that it doesn't matter, and that's fine.
Oh, it does.
Yes,
I
it does.
don't care.
And like I have
Yeah.
buddies that I'll bait with and
Yeah.
stuff, and they chew. I have one buddy that I bait with. He smokes,
Yeah.
and I'm like, just smoke all the time, because he'll be trying to be like sneaky about it. I'm like, just smoke, man, because
We're there.
you're not
Yeah.
going to hide
Yeah.
this.
No.
Like, we're not going to.
No.
You
Yeah.
can't fool these things. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
it may as well smell like a cigarette all the time in here, or spit out of the tree stand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Or
the worst.
but I mean, like on a paid hunt. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Mhm.
And I mean, if you can't not have a cigarette or have a chew, and you're out hunting, I mean, there's
For-
a problem
yeah.
here.
Well, and there have been times like for myself where I've quit for a week, like when I was a heavy smoker and I would go out to moose camp, that maybe a few in the evening time when I'm sitting around the campfire anyways.
Yeah.
But like but the thing is, like when you pointed that out to me last year, like I didn't even realize these things were that potent because like you said, I'm nose blind to it. Like I don't smell
Yeah.
it. Like I taste it, but I don't smell it.
Dude,
Yeah.
when I met my wife and I
And-
chewed, she was like, that stuff stinks. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Like, but it,
Well, and it makes
it
sense because
does.
like Copenhagen has a very potent smell.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can tell when someone's chewing that stuff, and like, but it got me thinking about all kinds of stuff like the bear bait. Like I mean, if that scent's only there when you're there, I mean they'll learn.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
for sure.
And like, there are alternatives. Like even if you don't want to go quit for the week that you're out moose hunting or something like that, they do sell like if you on like I'm on the Rogues right now.
Gotcha.
Just not trying to give them a plug or anything like that, but just so everybody knows what I'm using at the moment, what my vice is. And they have a scentless version,
Yeah.
a tasteless, scentless version that has nothing but salt and
Yeah.
whatever else is in there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And like that's an option.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have a smell, it doesn't
Yeah.
have a taste, it doesn't have anything, and you literally can't even tell it's in except for the pouch.
Yeah.
But even then, I mean, what else are you contending with?
Yeah.
And it's like all these things that I don't know. That was a great little bit of insight
Well,
you
and
gave
it's-
me because again, like
and then we danced with canines that same,
Yeah,
that's
we
like
did.
15 minutes later,
And that
we were
whole-
called 3 fox in, and we were sitting there, and I mean, they were, super close to us, and
yep.
the wind was kind of a little like swirling. I felt
Yeah.
like it wasn't really like choice, but I mean, who's to say? I mean, I think something gets a whiff of that, and that's foreign. I mean, and you gotta think that's pretty pungent,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it smells great. I mean, we're on a drive or whatever, and someone's whatever you chew on
Right.
whatever, but yeah, hunting is a totally different
Oh,
ballgame.
Yeah, it is.
Animal senses are completely underrated by, once again, about 90% of hunters or guides I know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll give you an example. I was on the peninsula this spring with a bow hunter, and we had a bear pop out at about, I think it was 1,800 yards, a big mature brown bear. And the wind was directly from us to it. And so I knew it was going to smell us. I said to the client, yeah, about 10 minutes time, that thing's going to smell us and power out of there. And, wow, let's go after it. We can do this, we can do that. And I said, well, we're going to be 10 minutes towards it. Probably halfway there, not even that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to smell us and leave. So anyway, we actually made a little move, but just to get our scent out of the valley a little. And I just climbed a little. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, it's absolutely powering out of there. And,
Yep.
you know, things like that, people don't believe you that a brown bear will smell you from a mile.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how many yards to a mile? 1760 or something?
1760. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, it was, from memory, I ranged it at 1800 yards or something like that. Anyway, smelled us, smelt camp, probably smelt each one of us individually. We had a cameraman there, and, you know, it completely underrated the senses of a brown bear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is very powerful.
And you think about like canines.
Oh yeah,
like they use canines to find narcotics,
Oh,
and
yeah,
like
exactly.
or track people. And it's like you think about someone that's been running through the woods for days, like evading the law. They probably smell like the environment.
Yeah,
and those dogs are still like hot on their trail. Like,
Yeah.
and there's another aspect to where we're the strangers.
yeah, exactly.
We came from town.
Yeah,
These things have lived there their entire lives.
Yeah.
They've spent the last at least 24 hours there.
yeah,
You know, even if they're moving and migrating, I mean, you hear about these animals moving crazy distances, but
Yeah.
regardless of whether they just traveled 30 miles the day before, they've been in the area they're in right now
Yeah.
for long enough to know what's normal to smell and what's not.
yeah,
I mean, if they're a prey animal, they're using their senses to tell if a bear's coming or wolves are coming. That's one of their senses is to smell them.
yeah, exactly.
And if they smell you, same thing. And the same with a bear and canines. They're using their sense of smell for hunting and
Yeah.
tracking down stuff and also avoiding danger.
Yeah,
And like, it's just, it's a whole scent is honestly like animals' ability to smell is one of the most mind blowing things to me
yeah,
because it's one of our least effective senses.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
for me,
We're
like
pathetic.
the fact that they can smell you a mile away
Yeah.
or they can figure out that there's a bait up on that mountain from the next hillside over.
Yeah.
Blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I can smell what's in this room.
Yeah.
You know, but like I can't even comprehend
Yeah.
catching a hint of a whiff of, I don't know, banana insanity or whatever
Yeah.
those pastes are and sprays and stuff like that for a bait. And like
Yeah.
and knowing which hillside to go to. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like, insane.
No, it's nuts. I have noticed actually when I've been in the field long periods of time, as time goes on, you do get away with more
Mm-hmm.
in terms of scent.
Yeah. Almost like you become normal for the environment.
I think you just, when you're saying, you know, we're from town, we've got scents that are very strange or not familiar with, you know, being out in the mountains or bush. And I think the more time you spend in there, the more you lose those. I don't think you gain the smelling like the mountains or the bush as much as you lose the rest,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Because we still smell like a human,
Right.
you know, we still,
Especially after a week.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm talking 3, 4, 5 weeks.
Yeah, right. Doesn't take
I'm
me
not
that
even-
long to start smelling. I don't know.
I was going to say, I'm not sure if I smell like a human anymore.
I was gonna say might smell like something else at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, I'll go call with buddies and stuff, and they'll have like good canine sign and stuff, and I'll hop in the truck. I've brought this up before, but it's like those 2 air fresheners hanging from the mirror,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and a pack of cigarettes, and
Yeah.
whatever else, and girlfriend sweater on the
Yeah.
passenger seat
No,
with
they-
perfume in it, and I'm like, dude,
Nope.
this is
Yeah.
like I bet this is a good
But it's the black
good
ice
place
air
to
freshener.
start. Yeah,
It's the black
the
ice air
it's the
freshener.
coconut, bro.
That stuff makes me
though.
sick. I can't handle it.
No, I can't either.
Too
And those
much.
things are toxic as heck
Yeah.
too. Like, I mean, that's a whole other rabbit hole to go down. But
Yeah. Stay on
Talk-
track.
Talk really quick because you Chris told me a trick for this a little bit ago, and I'm sure you've got experience with this as well. With canines and trapping, since that's kind of coming up, you got to be real careful with your scent when you're setting snares, when you're setting any kind of steel for them. They'll be on you, and they'll walk right up to your set, and if they smell you or anything, they'll just turn right around and backstep right through the same foot tracks and everything, right? So you turned me on to something with the gloves that you use a month ago. If you want to drop that, I
I'm
don't know.
trying to remember because I do a couple different things.
Yeah.
You're
welcome to drop it.
All right. I'll drop your gold nugget for you.
Ain't no secrets in here. Just don't give up none of my spots.
Where does he go?
Right. So if you go down this road, this is what he does. So the one you were telling me about was using glove inserts. and having an individual glove insert for basically just a contact glove with steel. And that's all you use that glove for. You don't use it to ride your machine. You don't use it to handle anything else. You don't use it to type on your cell phone. Nothing but handling steel. And when you're riding out to your spot and in between sets, you take a plastic baggie of some sort, Ziploc to where it locks out other scents, throw some natural stuff in there, and preferably you're using some sort of wool or some sort of scent absorbing material contact glove, real thin, so you still have that dexterity. And the whole time you're traveling out to your spot, it's not absorbing that exhaust scent and human scent and that Marlboro Red you smoked before you went out there and all this other stuff, right? You get to your spot, you stop your machine, you pull that glove out ever so gingerly and, very lightly put one hand into one glove, use that glove to put the next glove on. And that's what you use to set your steel or your snare or whatever. And then the second you're done with that, you don't touch your machine, you don't touch nothing. You take those gloves back off, put them back in the bag, let it have that scent and only that scent, Ziploc it, put it away, throw your normal heavyweight winter gloves back on and keep on going.
Yep.
I'll even do those military mittens, the real thick ones, and I've got some different styles of those, but I'll rock my clean gloves in those. I'll actually have those gloves pretty much just clean. I'll wash them out, no detergent, hang them. So you'll put your stuff just like you would hang your traps or your snares off way in the corner of your yard, not where the exhaust is blowing from your cars and all that, or you're drying clothes and the air dryer, the dryer sheets are blowing over to that side of the yard. This stuff's way out of, but I'll hang my gloves too. I'll do it with snow camo, and I'll even wear those gloves full time, but slip my hands in and out of those mittens. So I'll even keep those gloves on, those undergloves.
Gotcha.
But I'm not touching anything that I might pick scent up. And I've talked to different people about this, that it's not that they can't smell you, but it's different degrees of scent.
Yeah.
So when you set a snare, I've had people that this is their profession and that doesn't make them right either, but I take it to heart somewhat.
Better chance than not, though.
Smarter than me, much smarter than me. But better chance than not, though. But it's not that they can't smell that you were there, but it's when you were there.
Yeah.
Is it a threat? Because they're using that sense of smell to gauge the threat level.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's an old essence of you, but it's not fresh. So, and think about, and this is maybe me nerding out on this, but I always think about, you ever think about when wolves kill something and then wolves are just on that, nothing else is on that. And then those wolves will bail.
Yeah.
They'll take a couple days and then you'll have fox and stuff start coming into that.
Yeah.
Because they can smell those wolves. A whole pack of wolves are there.
Yeah.
Those wolves have moved on. That scent's not as strong.
Exactly.
And so they kind of develop that comfort, start moving into that, and then utilizing that kill site, right, and scavenging on that. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's a good theory.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I'd say you are right, and it's a great theory as well.
Yeah,
I've observed that actually happening, and I would say that is very likely the case. I have nothing to prove it other than obviously my observation, but it's kind of hard to argue with what you see and what you experience. And then the other thing is I've literally built snares, with my hands and bits and your crimps and all that, and walked out. This is in Canada, and walked out and hung wire and with my bare hands, and had wolves in them 2 days later.
Really?
And that is simply because of this. The area we trap is near town. There's a lot of fences, and there's human scent on a lot of things.
Yeah.
These wolves literally run through town.
They're probably pet fed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They are. So that's a whole different scenario there. So that was a real eye opener for me, because I was being careful with everything, doing what you're talking about with gloves. And then I go up there, was like, yeah, don't bother with that. I just hang everything with hand. And he catches, 80, 90 wolves a season.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yep.
And so, I know a couple old timers that'll smoke. They're like, yeah, I used to just smoke cigarettes here in the interior. It's just smoke, have a Camel non-filter and set traps with the same hand. And I mean, who knows?
Well,
it's dependent upon the area. Why would you not optimize your potential?
Yeah.
Right?
I'm a massive fan of what you're talking about. Gloves and things. I do all that up here. Yep.
Yeah. Well, and it also depends on, like, especially since Alaska is full of imports, right?
Yeah.
I'm an import, you're an import, you're an import. You know, and it really depends on where you come from too, because funny story. I used to deer hunt at my aunt's place up in Ohio. And they had property right next to this national forest and a trail that went right off the backyard, and we just ride out there, and there was trails everywhere and tree stands already set up, and, you know, okay, we'll put you here today, you here today. I mean, spread out 300 yards, just covering ground. Everybody's out there, right? It was a huge event. And there's old timers that would have rifles, because it's a straight bore or a straight wall only kind of area. So you really only have the options of lever guns with 45-70 or shotguns.
Right.
A lot of wood stocks running around in there.
For some old 458s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And one of had a rifle that, like, had a divot in the stock where he would always put out his cigarettes.
Wow.
Sitting in the deer stand, just smoking away. All right, yep. Putting out a cigarette on his rifle stock. Killed deer every year. But that's that environment.
Yeah.
That's, you know, I mean, and that national forest, you know, I mean, the one thing that kind of blew my mind, kind of exploring those areas after experiencing time up here, is you're sitting there in a deer stand in a national forest, and kind of this hunting scenario. You're out there for your peace, and you're having fun, and you're hunting, and you can hear the highway.
Yeah.
In the distance.
Yeah.
It's not that remote. You know, there's neighborhoods all surrounding it, and like, you know, there's trails
that
all
can
through
be to
it.
your advantage too.
That's it. And so, same as you're saying with these wolves in your town, they were just saturated in this human scent, because there's always people running those trails. There's always all this stuff everywhere. They probably just were none the wiser.
Oh yeah.
But that doesn't apply in places
Well, and the
like
other
this.
thing too is a dead deer is not an educated deer.
right. A lot of deer died in there. A lot of deer died in there.
Yeah.
A lot of deer.
There were a lot of deer.
I didn't say it. That's just what happens.
Few less after deer camp.
Damn, Timmy Hortons was 3 minutes from where I was catching those wolves.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Old Tim Hortons.
Dude, that is, I miss that.
Oh, it's so good, isn't it?
I love it, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
my buddy had got addicted to their coffee for a start. He orders it online now, but some kind of sandwich they had is just hilarious.
What's the place in Canada that it, while you're sitting in there, it just has like flat screens everywhere? It's just replaying the history of the cafe. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
And it is so good. There's a couple of them spread out. Man, it's been a while now. It's my wife and I, we a couple times drove through Canada together and stopped at these places. Man, I can't even know the name. It is so delicious. It's super cheesy. Like, it's got this, you can just watch this whole history as you're eating. It just kind of gives you the layout of the origin of the restaurant.
I've not seen it.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of one of those classics, like
Yeah.
Tim Hortons. It sounds like it's probably a little more low key, but
Hey, maybe that just makes it better.
dude, it is so good.
Yeah. Timmy's has got me for a while there.
Mm-hmm.
Being that close too. I go out, check some traps, and then rip off around the corner.
Get a sausage, egg, and cheese. Go back, check some other ones.
Barehanded.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Wolves are like,
You go through the
Tim
drive-through
Hortons.
with beavers and stuff. I was running this little Jeep that's got like an external frame, roll cage or whatever, and just throw beavers and stuff on the roof, and they don't come off, and just they got to see it all.
So awesome.
Yeah,
That's so
whatever.
awesome. Right.
You were pulling up into Tim Hortons like this?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Yep.
Can you imagine the
Whatever.
caster smell as he's coming around the drive-through?
You know what's funny? I don't think people often noticed.
Really?
Oh yeah,
No kidding.
Just so clueless, huh?
yeah.
yeah.
So clueless.
Just checked out.
Yeah, just pushing food out the window, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Living the dream in Canada.
Oh yeah. High level.
Yeah.
The thriving metropolis of high level. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I mean, I know you said you did some trapping before you got up here and everything like that, but what gave you like the trapping bug? Like from growing up hunting and everything like that? Like what got you on that track?
We've always run traps. Like when I was a kid, we trapped. You know, you can trap possums in New Zealand.
Okay. Yep.
The fur market. There is a fur market there. It's a plucked fur market.
For possums?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you said they're nothing like the ones we have here.
No,
so.
nothing. Yeah, they got really good fur.
Okay, gotcha.
And you can hand pluck them like, you know, minutes after killing them before they go cold or get rigor. You can literally just hand pluck them and there'll be some.
No kidding.
Here goes the YouTube plug.
Yeah, go for it.
So I took my girlfriend down to New Zealand this year. This year? Yeah, this year. And, you know, she wanted to see around, so I took her up where we grew up, all the beaches and, you know, the northern part of the North Island. And we trapped some possums and did a bunch of fishing and stuff. So there'll be a YouTube video coming out of some of that trapping and some of the fishing and stuff we did. But yeah, you can literally just grab handfuls of fur until the possum's bald.
Really?
Yeah. And hand-plucked fur is worth more than machine-plucked fur.
Okay.
And yeah, we probably put away 10 pounds of plucked fur.
Wow.
Yeah.
So can you describe that a little bit? Like, so is it like, are you just pulling the guard hairs out, or you're completely?
No, everything.
So it's just a piece of leather when you're done.
Yes.
And does it come out like as easy as guard hairs? Because like
very easy.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Because I used to do that with I used to have a German Shepherd.
Yeah.
And during the spring months, you know, I'd be sitting in my room or something like that, and I could just pull tufts and tufts and tufts.
It's even easier than that.
What?
Whole handfuls.
Really?
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah, when they're freshly dead, like quickly headshot, or you know, when I'm taking them out of traps, just smack them over the head with a hammer, and they're dead.
Is it all live trapping over there?
You can do whatever. There's no regulations on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're literally just ripping out handfuls of it, and
really,
yeah.
Do they typically have like bald spots from any kind of rubbing or it coming off in the wild?
No, never.
Really?
Yeah.
What's it used for? Just
they net it. They spin it and net it.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're not doing anything with the leather necessarily.
No, you pluck that possum and turf it in the bushes. Yeah. Yeah, there's no regulations
for all you trapping lovers out there.
Yeah. There's no regulations on anything in New Zealand in terms of hunting and trapping. I mean,
no kidding.
Really, no.
Wow.
So yeah, we've got a girlfriend's busy right now, and she does all that side of things, but she'll be putting something out at some stage.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what got me kind of knowing about your trapping is because there's a couple of trapping videos on there as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to plug the handle for your YouTube video?
Yeah. Chris is about to
Chris
read
has
it out.
Pulled up.
I want to go. My son and I are going to watch it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about it.
She actually did really good. Yeah, they're very well done
it
videos.
Looks really well done. I kind of like with the volume down, was checking it out earlier. It looks awesome.
Yeah. Kudos to her. She did very good.
Yeah. Just what I've looked at, it looks very well done.
And you're good at filming too, is the other thing. Like, obviously she can only work with the footage that you give her, right? And I mean, you do a really good job of that.
Yeah, like, it's all just on an iPhone, and I just my selfie camera doesn't work, thankfully. Otherwise, it'd probably be more of my ugly mug on there. But I mean, I just I think it started out of just wanting to show buddies back home or wherever. You know, this is what we do. This is what I do while I'm out here. You know, people don't hear from me for a couple of weeks in winter. This is potentially what I'm doing, and you know, it's a journey because you don't know what to film and you don't know what not to film and you don't know what people care about or don't care about or whatever. So you just randomly bumble along blindly and do whatever. But it's also good to look back on stuff. I've seen some sets that I've made, and you know, looking back on them, they look terrible in one way or another, or I can do this or I can do that.
Right.
And so
kind of helps you self-learn a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've also had people reach out and say, hey, you should do this or you should try that. Or
from the videos?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've got good buddies that are good trappers that I can send videos to and say, I'm doing this. What would you do different? Or just how, this is my setup. How would you do yours? You know, like show me your set.
Yeah.
Sharing videos and things like that is a great way to learn. But
right on. Yeah, and that's one thing with trapping. I mean, everybody that's been doing it for a while might show you a different way to set a link set.
Yeah, there's no one way to catch a lynx, and
right. Yeah, and even if they have the exact same set as the next guy, there's one tweak to it that they do.
Yep.
That is a little bit different, and they said, "Oh, well, because I did this 3 times, and it worked 3 times, so I just started doing it every time."
Exactly.
And
kind
of back to that whole little gold nugget things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so there's that. Yeah, there's a goat hunt on there that was kind of, I didn't really think was post worthy or whatever, but she made a video out of that, and I film all sorts, man. I film a lot of stuff on sheep hunts.
Mm-hmm.
I literally film everything I do.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's literally hundreds of hours of footage there, but having the time to put it together is a whole different story. But
yeah, what you do with it in post production is that's where it gets time consuming.
Yeah, and the other thing I said to my girlfriend is I never wanted anything to look too heavily produced. I just wanted it to be raw. Just throw it together.
Mm-hmm.
She throws some I don't know what they're called, like cuts or scene changes or whatever they are, but throws a little music here and there and whatever.
Yep. Yeah. I would say that it comes across that way. It's not overly produced, but it's smooth is the thing. Like sometimes you watch hunting videos or just YouTubers that are filming what they do, and I'm kind of the same way. I appreciate the lower production quality ones because I understand the realness of what's going on out there.
Yeah.
I have a similar thing with hunting videos as you do, where it's like, I haven't hunted everything, obviously, and I don't have near the experience you do, but like, I know a lot of what gets cut out behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And like when it goes straight from hiking to glassing to shooting in
it's
3 minutes,
cheesy.
it's like,
it's cheesy.
Okay, that could be 2 days worth of footage that just got trimmed down, and it's like, but so I almost appreciate that kind of that raw, almost with a lot of B-roll footage that like really shows kind of more of the experience.
Yeah.
Not just the primary, key factors, but for anybody wondering, your YouTube handle is Adventure Hunts Worldwide, and that's both the title and the handle. So looks like you got 4 videos on there now.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Well, that's all Amanda.
That's all her. It's your picture on the profile. So,
it is.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, it's actually identical to your Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Same picture.
Huh.
Which that is a tanker, by the way.
Which is
the bear?
Oh yeah, it's a grizzly from the Brooks. Yeah.
Yeah, tanker.
Yeah, that was when my selfie camera worked.
Really? One of the last times.
Yeah, that was a neat hunt. I got kicked out in the field by myself. I was out there for 24 hours, killed a sheep and a grizz, and got her done and got the hell out of there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
seems to be a pretty consistent combo for you from stories I've heard.
Just get after it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is your Instagram and your YouTube the same?
My Instagram is Adventure Hunts NZ.
Yeah, man, there's some good pictures on here too. There's some really cool stuff on here.
Oh yeah, I should post more, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
There's some awesome stuff.
I would say you do pretty good, but yeah.
That's
well, like we were talking about my buddy Caleb earlier. He's very good with media and stuff like that. He has self-filmed and self-edited a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some stuff I've talked a little with him about that, and I've never gone into the editing side with him or anything like that. But and then there's other guys. This is not a plug, but Slots Media. They're just great cameramen, great at producing stuff. I've done a hunt with them. They just recently put out a film of Glen Eberle's, and it's unreal. That's the kind of stuff I can watch. It's more of a journey. There's more to that story too because of his bone cancer and stuff like that. But there's more to the journey than just they went out there, they whacked an ibex and a morale and
right.
over and done with. It was there's heaps to it, but and that's why I can't watch. Like I was saying, I don't do hunting videos very well. I just get so bored so fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always interesting to see people's perspective on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there is some value to, I mean, really just about any hunting film in the sense that you can, like you said, with that piece of equipment, right? Like, oh, he used this. And,
yes, exactly.
And, and there's some guys where they'll plug what they're using. You know, if they show a certain piece of equipment, they'll
Yeah.
you know kind of give like the name of it and whatnot,
Yeah.
or they'll give little hints and little tips, you know,
Yeah.
about what the best way to cross a creek is.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
this different thing, and you know, Brian Call's really good with that.
Yep.
And the gritty films.
Yeah.
And so, and every film he does, it's those little gold nuggets are dropped everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and boom.
Yeah.
You know, oh, picked one up there. Boom, picked one up there. And so there's value to that.
Yeah.
You know, and not everybody does that. And there's millions of hunting videos out there.
Yeah, sure.
And you know, some are way better than others, but it's not always the production value that makes them better.
Exactly.
You know, it's
Yeah.
sometimes it's that journey. It's that raw, like
Yeah.
this is what it takes.
Exactly.
You know, you're not just gonna leave the truck and 5 minutes later have a ram in the
Yeah.
you know in your pack.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, and it gives people the wrong idea. I mean, especially when
Exactly.
they're watching these films from, you know, somewhere in the lower 48 where they've never seen sheep. They don't know what sheep are. They don't even know where sheep live
Yeah.
necessarily.
The two things that most everyone I think probably hasn't even thought of with filmed sheep hunts or mountain hunts is time elapsed and weight lost.
mhm.
You know?
Yeah, right.
Like my last sheep hunter lost 15 pounds.
Really?
And I just posted a short video on Instagram of him walking up to his sheep.
oh yeah, I saw that
And
one. Yeah.
I mean, he lost 15 pounds.
Yeah.
People don't even take that into account, you know.
No.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
and I like those ones where they film like even if they're stuck and sucked in their tent.
Yeah.
And they just at least talk to the camera for a little bit, let you know what's up. You know,
Yeah.
oh, we just lost a whole day because we're
Yeah.
socked in. Like,
Yeah.
then at least you know.
Yeah.
You know, that's it, what these guys put up with
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah, yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
And because I mean, you've also seen guys get in trouble. you
Oh,
know, over thinking it's easier than it is, or just carbon copying,
Yeah.
trying to get the same experience or something like that. You know, and it's like
Yeah.
it's not that easy.
No.
Like, so. But
Timothy Treadwell's a great example of that.
Dang.
Too soon?
Yeah.
Man, we went there. Huh?
We went there. One of us did at least.
Yeah.
Well,
You
you know,
know,
I never like, I don't ever get any entertainment out of somebody having that.
Mm.
But that is so reckless to put something like that out
Yeah.
and just let people and make people think
Yeah.
that.
I'm amazed he lasted as long as he did, to be honest with you.
I mean,
that's a testament unto itself. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
But
I'm
very
surprised.
reckless,
Yeah.
very irresponsible to put that kind of stuff out.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yep. And a lot of people do stuff like that all the time. A lot of people they'll film stuff they have no business doing.
Oh.
And
Oh yeah.
you know, and like
I like watching that stuff.
I'm guilty of that this season actually.
I have a feeling if it's in the woods, you probably have business doing it.
Yeah. I filmed a bear I probably should have been dealing with sooner than filming it, but
Oh, really?
oh yeah. It turned out all right, but I didn't have anyone with me, so I wasn't too worried. But
hmm
yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yep. But no, there's I think there's like I said, I mean, if you're watching them for the gold nuggets that you can pick out,
Yeah, for
like
sure.
I think that's one way of almost getting like with the right films. Let me just caveat this. Films are almost like forums.
Yeah.
Like you got to make sure that the gold nuggets you're picking up are like real,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, sure.
and there is always a warning sign with forums and getting any information off forums.
Oh yeah.
You never know what the person posting's experience truly is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you never know like what if they've even never pulled the trigger on what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and a lot of guys try to get their ballistics, you know,
Oh yeah, that's
information from forums, and
Yeah.
you might talk to a guy that's never owned that cartridge but just doesn't like it because
Mhm.
this will never work, and it's maybe it does.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one thing I love having ballistics conversations with Chris about, is because there's just stuff that like works. Even we were just talking about this the other day. There's just stuff that works even though the chart says it has no business working.
Yep, exactly.
Like that should not do what it's doing.
Yeah.
But it does.
Yeah.
With authority.
Yeah.
Like and there's just, you can read charts, you can read forums, you can do all this stuff, but man, it's like
Yeah.
once you start actually putting stuff to the test, that's when your eyes start to open.
Yep. Yeah.
Gold nuggets are cool. Don't pick up no fool's gold.
Yeah.
Ooh, we put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Exactly.
Put that on a t-shirt, dude.
Put that on a crackadoo.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Oh, it's great.
No, it's funny listening to. That's kind of like how you kind of clown on nonsense. It seems like that's how I am. Like I'll go on these forums just to laugh at all the crazy ideas.
Oh yeah, it's
and it's
almost
like right on. Like it kills me.
Yep.
It's just pure entertainment.
Or the people that say the way that you've been doing it for 3 or 4 years will never work. It's impossible. Yep. You can't do that.
Yeah.
It won't work.
Or,
That's
you're like,
or
okay.
2 decades.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're like, okay. You're right.
I love that's kind of where I love when people will just lay the law out to me, and I'm like, oh, God, I'm so glad that I ran into you. That's you saved me so much time and trouble.
Well, it's refreshing, especially in this day and age. I mean, to really give someone their pedigree is refreshing from both ends. You know, sometimes you need to be told you're full of BS, and you know, sometimes it's nice to tell someone that too. And
right.
I mean, if you even meet any of my buddies, you'll notice they're pretty much all the same as me. They don't let you get away with anything, and you know, it's it's good. It's
so
great.
they're men.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
no, that's
it's just a lot more
those are the
simple.
kinds of people you want to surround yourself
Yeah,
with.
exactly. Yeah.
I want to be the most incompetent in the room because that means I'm picking up the most.
Exactly.
That's what I always tell my wife that.
Yep.
I'm like, I want to be just the dumbest guy in the room.
My dad used to say you can't soar with eagles if you're perching with turkeys. And I mean,
I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
you know, if you're hanging out with turkeys, you're never gonna fly with the eagles. I mean,
You know, we were almost the national bird.
yeah. No, you're right though. If you're in a room with people that are, you know, better than you at everything you're trying to do, you're going to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dudes I play golf with, they're better than me, but my game gets better the day I'm playing with them.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
And it'll do the same in any sport or any whatever you're doing.
Well, and for me, like I've always been a gun nut. Like always.
Yeah.
And you know, in varying capacities, in varying extremes of perfecting certain platforms and whatnot. I had a lot of bad habits.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was from shooting in the military.
Yeah.
Maybe military taught me bad habits, or you know, just shooting alone.
Yeah.
And nobody there to correct me on my foot placement or my head placement or anything like that. It took 2 sessions with a very, very good long range shooter to correct everything. I mean, my groups shrunk exponentially.
Yeah.
And that's all it took was just somebody to be better than me, and for me to be willing to learn from that person and put my pride down and not fall back. Well, I've been doing this for 10 years. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's always worked for me. And it's like, no, like, you know, it hasn't clearly.
Some humble pie every now and then too.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Being able to admit it.
There's a whole new game developing out of this 1,000-yard gun out of the box too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all these. I'm not going to start naming brands, but there's one main brand out there. Everyone buys one, and next thing they think they can kill something at 1,000 yards, and
right.
Don't even start me on that. But
nope.
Let's get to shooting at the range 200 or 300 times before you even come on a hunt with it and get familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it should be an extension of your arm, basically.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. And don't get me wrong, it's easier to shoot 1,000 yards these days than it ever was.
Oh, for sure.
Like with new scope technology, the new rifles that are coming out,
ballistic
new
computers
projectiles
and everything as well. Yeah.
Yep. Calculators. Yeah, you don't have to do long math anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, app on your phone tell you everything you want to know in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You know,
build a profile for everything.
Yeah.
My favorite is when you've got an animal doing absolutely nothing at 200 yards, which generally their rifle is zeroed for 200 yards, and they pull out their Kestrel and start messing. It's like,
you don't need a Kestrel.
You're like, oh, I didn't rip that out of your backpack and leave it back at camp,
right? Wait, how'd you get that here?
How much does that weigh?
Here's the problem: it's normally in their bino harness.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Got to start searching those too. Where's that Snickers bar?
I had a buddy, had a client last year that could have shot a Wolverine, which is pretty damn rare.
Yeah.
And he just started messing around with a wind station, you know. And,
oh, no.
It's like, it was inside his zeroed range.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I've been working on my my 22 mag for predator hunting this year.
Yeah.
And like figuring out my point blank range.
Yeah.
And everything like that. Because I'm not going to be dialing at all when you're predator hunting. You can't.
No.
Like, you know, it's all snap shooting. But like a lot of people could benefit from doing a little bit of research into what your max point blank range is and just sticking with that for the first several years.
Yeah, go and extensively shoot it though.
Yeah.
You know?
Get intimately familiar with it.
Yeah.
You know, and like honestly, that's not a bad place to stay within hunting range on most game.
Yeah, exactly.
For most people.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you get anything like a 30-06, 300 Win Mag, any of those hunting cartridges, your point blank range is going to be far enough out there that you can get that close.
Yeah.
Like, and you never have to worry about getting into these dialing turret scopes and these fancy dancy rifles. It's like, no, just, you know, you're going to introduce yourself to a whole new world of factors when you start shooting far anyways.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, once you push out past 400 or 500 yards, I mean, the whole game changes.
Exactly.
You know, and it's
I've only had a couple of clients that I would say can confidently shoot, you know, to 700 yards and factoring wind and everything. But you know, once again, they're shooting probably in excess of 2,000 or 3,000 rounds a year.
Right.
And that's a major factor.
Yeah, they didn't buy the gun 6 months before the hunt and then let it sit in the closet for 4 months until they decided to put a scope on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, both of them build guns actually.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, you know, and then other than that, I had a guy, TJ this year, who wrecked my poles. Oh mate, he shot a sheep at 512, and he doesn't do a lot of shooting, but we spent a bit of time at the range. We've got steel up there out to 1,030 yards.
Nice.
And he wasn't the first go. We went out in the field for a few days and then came back through camp and went into a different area. And he, on that little stint we did in camp, he said to me, "Hey, let's shoot at the range. I'm not, you know, super confident with this or that." We got to shooting and he's shooting a 500-yard piece of steel really confidently, you know, whatever. And that, you know, then a couple of days later we shot that sheep at 512, 515. I don't know. I have the video on my phone actually, but and you know, then once that hunt was over and done and everything, we started sending them out long, and it took me on his fourth shot, I walked him in on that 1,030-yard gong. I mean, it's just small things like that can make all the difference, but you got to shoot them.
Yeah.
You got to know your system.
One thing I started doing this summer, I I went out and shot with Carson, and he dissected some bad habits and forms that I had going on, and gave me, I literally got a notepad that's just all the things he's told me and corrected me on. And so I went out and shoot, of course, like he gave me some knowledge. So I went out after that. I went by myself, and I'm like, man, this is so much harder now that he's not here to walk me onto the stuff and like correct. And so I'm like, okay. And something I started doing, and it's like, it's very hard. And this is my world. This isn't sheep hunting world. Like where I might shoot something at 20 yards or 500 yards, right? Is start shooting from 25 yards all the way out.
Yeah.
Because I've got rifles that'll drive tacks at 200 yards and at 50 yards.
Yep.
They're all over the place. 20 yards, they're all over the place. You know, and just know what your equipment does for different. You see guys with 200-yard zeros, and they get a 15-yard shot on a critter coming in, and they're all spooled up, and it's not even close. They're not even on the map. They're not even on paper, you know. And you're just like, like
that's a wonderful.
And you can shoot. You can be the expert long distance shooter, but
and I mean, full stop. That's bitten me before. That exact same mistake.
Bitten me.
I mean,
I've never missed.
You just haven't hunted enough, clearly.
You know, I've missed. Don't worry about that. One thing I have noticed is a lot of clients that are coming out in the field, and I'm not picking on clients, but just I notice it with clients because I'm really looking at them, is, you know, anything from trigger punching to just a full-on flinch.
Yeah.
I actually caught two guys out in the worst way this season. I'm going to name one because he'll find it funny. I ended up calling him Freddie Flinchstone.
Here goes the accountability.
Yeah. And the reason I don't mind naming him is he was humble enough to know he needed calling out.
Yeah.
And we worked on it, and he got better. I mean, we shot 30, 40 rounds or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he couldn't hit the 500 yards steel and started worrying about his rifle. And I got on the rifle and just took a quick snapshot at it.
Yep.
And whacked it. And so then I watched what he was doing, and I short stroked the bolt on him. So obviously didn't pick up a round.
Right.
And I mean, he jerked the living
just all kinds of recoil.
Oh yeah, all kinds of recoil when the rifle didn't go off. So, and he actually gave himself a fright.
Yeah.
And
yeah, and people do that with pistols all the time.
Oh yeah,
yeah. If you use one of those dud rounds,
I'm pretty sure I'd do that with a pistol.
Yeah,
I don't shoot a handgun very well. I mean, I didn't grow up with handguns or anything, but
right.
Yeah, I can't shoot a handgun worth a damn. But yeah, I mean, he was humble enough to be happy to be called out, and I short stroked him like a bunch of times and kept catching him out until he ironed it out. But and a lot of people get into dry firing. I'm just going to go out there and say it, and you can fight me over this. Dry firing does not fix a flinch.
Mm-hmm.
It'll let you feel the weight of a trigger, but it does not fix a flinch.
It builds your muscle memory,
so
you know when the trigger is going to go off a little bit in your head.
So you know how to time your flinch.
Yes. So I've helped some people through this issue before, and what I always recommend to them, because and I'll give an example of a typical situation for this. Whether you're a local hunter or a client coming up here for a new hunt, or you're just coming up here for a DIY hunt, a lot of guys, when they come from areas where they are only shooting either smaller animals or whatever they're shooting, they're using smaller calibers.
Yeah.
They decide they're coming to Alaska and they're going to shoot this big 1,200-pound moose and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And bears are in the area. I need a 338 rum. And I need, or even if it's just a 300 Win Mag, but you're used to shooting a 25-06 at a deer, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of recoil jump. And so they're not used to it. And even up here, I mean, if you're jumping from a small caliber world up to medium caliber or medium bore or even big bore, there's a recoil consequence to bullet size and stuff.
Exactly.
What I've recommended to a lot of people is what helped me, which is all of our modern cell phones these days have a lot of really cool features built into the camera.
Yeah.
One of those is slow-mo.
Yeah.
And you set your camera up in an angle where you're watching yourself shoot. Hit that slow-mo record and fire off a couple of rounds. And then you can go through and pick apart everything. If you close your eye before that round goes off, you'll see it on the video.
Yeah.
You'll never know. You might not even know you're doing it before that.
Yeah.
But you'll see your shoulder tense up and your eye close and your cheeks rise and everything changes right before you pull that trigger.
Exactly.
And that's why you can't group at 100 yards.
Yeah.
And that's what helped me with some flinching when I got into the bigger magnums, and that's what's helped a lot of other people is just recognizing it's a thing, because then you can consciously combat it.
Yeah,
you just okay, it hasn't actually hurt me the last 20 times I pulled the trigger.
Yeah,
this is not actually a dangerous situation. But then suppressors also really help with that, I've noticed.
Yeah,
there was a huge difference I noticed in myself when we were in Africa shooting with suppressors, because I've never hunted with suppressors.
Gotcha.
Stateside.
Yeah.
So over there was my first experience with them. And the fact that there was just no concussion whatsoever, there was zero flinch whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because I'm a pretty big guy. It takes a lot of punch in the shoulder to make me flinch from that. But the sound is really what'll do it initially on a lot of things. And
exactly.
I run muzzle brakes on a lot of stuff here because that's what you can buy for, over the counter here.
Yeah.
But if you can invest in a suppressor, that will help your flinch as well.
Yeah, and not be shy to be called out by a buddy that's, happy to help you out.
Yeah,
that's not a personal attack. They're trying to iron a flinch out of you.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not calling you an idiot.
No, no.
Yeah.
You were talking about shooting between flinch. You're like preparing for your flinch.
Mm-hmm.
I just want someone to be like, yeah, I shoot between heartbeats, and be like, yeah, I shoot between flinches.
I just flinch ahead of time, so I get it out of the way.
Yeah. I can actually shoot between my flinches. It's crazy. I'm not really sure what you're talking about, but
yeah. I've caught myself a bunch about to flinch,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know whether even you'd call it a flinch, but about to punch the trigger.
Yep.
And it's almost like an impulse,
Mm-hmm.
just to send it, and it's I've managed to reel it in a few times, and that's even up till recently, and I shoot fairly well and whatever, and I shoot, I don't really shoot anything other than a 22 Magnum and a 375.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple others, but I never use them, and that 375 is an extension of my left arm, really. No one's immune to it.
Yeah.
I shoot that thing a lot.
Yep.
And it's always interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's always
well, and that falls back to one thing you were mentioning earlier about practicing a lot, shooting a lot.
Yeah.
When you know what your rifle does and you know what your group should be.
Yeah.
When the flyer in the group
when that starts
was
happening.
you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like and you'll call it ahead of time.
Yeah.
Like you might have your buddy in a spotting scope looking at your grouping out at the range. And I can literally call it when I miss.
Yeah.
I goofed that one up.
Yeah.
That's where I am right now, all the time, every shot.
Every shot.
That's the learning phase I'm at right now.
Aww.
Just hoping for one good one out there.
Just like nope, hold it, nope,
yep,
nope.
Yeah. But that's the thing, and then you focus on it and you dial it in, and then eventually you'll get those 5 perfect ones back to back.
Yeah.
And again, you're gonna goof up because, like you said, nobody's immune, but you'll know it.
Yeah.
You'll know it when you do.
What kind of 375 are you shooting?
It's one that a couple of buddies of mine put rifles together. It's Next Level Rifle Systems is the brand, but it's rifles they put together. It's basically the best components on the market you'll find. Put them together and build custom rifles to suit whoever wants it. The client. I've always wanted a 375 put together, fairly short, good handleability, not something long and heavy. It's got a muzzle brake on it, carbon barrel, titanium action. It has a Trigger Tech diamond in it, which, is, in my opinion, right now, one of the better triggers on the market for someone who's in the field a lot, being dust and waterproof. And I've got a low power. I got a 1:8 by 28 Trigicon on it. Trigicon Credo HX.
Nice.
I mean, when you pull that up on 1 power, the field of view is not massive, being by 28.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I can see the last 6 inches of my barrel.
Yeah.
And so I can shoot anything until it's biting on the end of the barrel.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have done so, and it works. It's exactly what I need, and then I'll shoot. I can shoot to 700 yards pretty comfortably with it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's amazing how much those larger of the medium bores. I mean, 375 is the top of the line as far as that goes.
What 375 are you shooting?
It's a Holland.
An H&H.
H&H, yeah.
I was wondering if you were talking like Ruger or H&H.
But it's amazing what, like, you used to never be able to shoot past 100, 200 yards with those things. Like, and now with modern bullets and modern everything, it's like you can really reach out and touch some stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I shoot monolithics through it by hammer, and they make some pretty slippery. Yeah. They make some really slippery stuff. That's, I mean, it groups well. It's easy to get to shoot. It's not really picky on jump. And
which ones are you shooting?
Right now, I'm shooting the 281 Hammer Hunter.
Hammer Hunters. Those are the ones I was looking at loading into my Ruger.
Yeah.
Hammers are phenomenal.
Yeah. And I mean, my buddy Kurt there, he knows what he's doing, and I go down there. He's in Wyoming. I take the rifle down there, whatever, and we just put it together and start shooting, and it works. Well, 10 minutes we've got something that works, and then we just start shooting and chronographing everything. And he's got steel out to whatever actually, but I mean, in his yards out to 700, and just shoot.
Yeah,
see what it does.
How short have you been able to get those barrels on that H&H to where it's still performing well?
20 inches. 20 inches.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
because that's like traditionally a very long barrel that it takes to facilitate that.
That's it. All comes down to powder on that. Yeah. But and these monolithics really are easy to get to shoot very well.
Yeah.
Everyone I know that loads those hammers, they're like, it took me nothing to get a load.
The only problems I've run into are self-made problems trying to do stuff with things that they're not made for. I try to make the shock hammers into a long-range projectile, and they got, they got too big a hollow nose on them to make them fly at low speeds.
Yeah.
So doing dumb things with stuff that's not made for the job.
They don't have the aerodynamics that some of the other.
No.
Yeah.
But they're great. I mean, I literally can't fault them.
Yeah. And they're almost inherently accurate.
Yeah.
Like they really are. I mean, and we've actually had Steve on the show before.
Oh yeah. Okay.
To talk about the hammers and the development of those and everything.
Yeah.
And he's a sponsor of the show.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. That's why I got a big smile on my face when you said you shoot hammers.
Yeah.
Oh, you too?
Yeah.
I'm just sitting over here just all cheesing.
I'm just hey, we didn't even ask for this review.
Yeah. No, I'm a massive
This is
fan.
not a paid actor in this. No, he's a great guy, and they make really quality products.
Yeah.
And it's this, they're just inherently accurate. It's the weirdest thing, and even if you ask him, he's like, yeah, it's the weirdest thing. Grace of God, man. They just work. And, but it's every single one. It's the darndest thing, really. But that's one of the best aspects about them. I mean, besides the fact that they work so well on game, but man, they fly like a dream. They're repeatable, they're accurate, and they work.
I can't wait to run some of the 17 and 20 caliber stuff from him. I want to pick his brain, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
Some of those, because there's not really a lot of feedback. It doesn't seem. Well, there's starting to be,
as far as
just as far as guys loading for smaller Wildcat cartridges. But
right.
They have some great 22 projectiles. For say a 22 Creedmoor or a whatever. Yeah.
I shoot a 204 a lot.
Oh
I want to start trying some of their stuff out. 20 cal.
That's the great thing about them, man, is because he's a ballistics nut just like everybody else that wants his product. There's so many options, man. It's like for good night for 308 or 6.5 or 338.
Yeah.
There's 20 different flavors you can order.
Yeah.
Or more. Honestly.
There's a lot in 375.
Yeah, a lot in 375.
It's nuts.
He's got 4 different weights of 17.
Yeah.
I think 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Anything you could want.
And it's been a little while, but there's also designs that aren't commercially advertised that he will do as well. I don't know if he's still doing that.
Yeah.
But some different things that
and the cool thing is, so at the moment, they haven't changed this yet, but their phone numbers, the 2 founders' phone numbers are on the webpage.
Yeah.
And you'll get their...
I've literally just called them and said, hey, this is doing this, what's going on? That's how I knew. I was trying to load a 325 Winchester short mag, which is an 8 mil. I was trying to load, I can't remember what grain projectile now. And he said, what speed are they doing, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, well, at this speed, they're probably, destabilizing. And he was bang on.
Yep.
I mean, they were grouping well out to 300, 400.
Yep.
500. They'd spread out like a shotgun, And he said, yeah, they're probably destabilizing you. That's not what they're made for. And I immediately went to something else. But that's another thing too. I went to them because the reason I found Hammer originally is I was looking for projectiles for that 325. And no one's making them.
No.
Not even Nosler.
Yep.
You got to find old crusty stuff stacked away in some warehouse in the back of Wisconsin.
Or at a state sale or something.
Yeah, but they're making them. So
is that a more common one over in the UK maybe?
325?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really that
Seems like
common.
An odd one for the US, but maybe, I know they have some different ones that are pretty common over there too. So.
Yeah, it's not real common anywhere, to be honest.
Is it? Okay, yeah.
But I bought 2 Kimber rifles. One was a 270 Winchester short mag, one was a 325. Brand new rifles, both for $500. So $250 a piece.
Nice.
So I didn't rebarrel them or anything. I just used as is, and it came with brass and bits and pieces. And
Heck yeah.
So the guy paid you to haul them away.
yeah, pretty much. And both of them shoot like a dream. It is unbelievable. Yeah. Yeah.
He got tired of searching for projectiles.
Yeah. Those there is some projectiles out there that work, but nothing that's
Right.
as easy.
Mhm.
You know.
What's a 325 like based off of?
Well,
What's
just a 300 Winchester short mag,
Okay.
necked out to 8 mil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I shot some brown bears with that thing, and it murders them. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it whacks them hard.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I got to read up on that. I've never even heard of it.
Yeah,
What would you say the benefit is to that over, like, say, like a 338, which is pretty common, if there is any benefit?
well, less recoil, less percussion, less powder, less
Yeah.
all the drama. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's from reloading perspective, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
It's definitely harder to find projectiles and brass for. But once you're sort of there, I mean, you're talking probably not quite half the powder. Probably slightly more than half the powder, I should say. But yeah, just handling.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not that giant beast.
Mm-hmm.
I shot a 10-foot brown bear through what's the hardest or biggest, thickest bone in their body, which is that front shoulder. It punched right through that and came out the other side, penny sized. And I did that twice on the same bear.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really ask for much more than that. And that little Kimber it's the Montana 82 or 8400, whatever.
Super light, huh?
Super light little rifle. It doesn't have a whole lot of recoil. It's not terrible.
Nice.
Yeah.
So a lot of punch for not a lot of punch
exactly.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I call handleability, like
Mhm.
it's pretty nice on you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where, like, I have qualms with some of my rifles, because, like, some of them I really like, but they're just too long. And they're hard to handle in certain situations. And some of them are real short and handy, but they're heavy.
Yeah.
They're boat anchors, and it's like, and so I'm kind of like, right now I'm kind of looking for that middle ground.
Yeah.
That kind of in between where it's light and it's handleable.
Yeah.
And it's got a big punch and, all the things that I want.
Yeah.
And I'm just, ADHD and a gun nut. So I'm always looking for an excuse to buy another gun.
Yeah. I'll bring my 375 up next time I come up.
Yeah.
I think you'll be impressed with how that feels in hand, and I'll let you shoot it, and I think you'll be impressed.
Awesome.
Having a muzzle brake on the end, you want earplugs or hearing protection.
Oh, sure.
But
yeah.
I'm always surprised, and I let a lot of people shoot it as well, and they're always surprised of how well that shoots and handles.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of recoil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't go past it for killing power. Everyone's like, oh, why do you shoot a 375? That's a bit over the top. And I was like, anything I bump into out here is dead.
Yep.
And here's another plug for Hammer. I shot a grizzly bear up the ass the other day. And I mean, that sounds wrong. I didn't tell you about the situation.
So there I was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I should probably tell what happened. But I had to clean a grizzly bear up as it was running away.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the only shot was, butt cheeks.
Yeah.
And,
the old Texas heart shot.
Yeah. And I mean, I kind of shot it just, back and under one of the hip bones.
Mm-hmm.
That bullet came out the top of the head.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Oh yeah.
No kidding.
Oh yeah. I got the video on my phone. It's crazy.
You gotta
I mean,
show
it's
us that.
I gotta see that.
It's
That's
an inch by
awesome.
inch hole out the top of its head. It's crazy.
Yep.
That's amazing
Yeah.
that nothing
Yeah.
stopped that. I
Yeah, I mean,
that's
it's not-
so much
It
material.
wasn't a 10-foot brown bear or anything, and it wasn't even a giant grizzly bear.
Mhm.
But
That's still some doing, though.
oh yeah,
I mean,
oh yeah,
good night.
yeah. That's crazy.
And I mean, that is the benefit of those things. I
Yeah.
mean, they really. The thing I love about hammers, and we're probably going to end up doing a whole episode on this aspect at some point, because I think it is an important thing for people to learn. But like bullet construction,
oh yeah,
right? Like what goes into the bullet construction that you're looking to buy
yeah,
off the shelf or from the manufacturer getting projectiles to reload. whether it's cup and core, whether it's bonded, whether it's a traditional monolithic or like a hammer, where it's kind of, and just the different kinds and how they react and stuff like that in animals and testing. And, hammers really, I mean, it wasn't like a handout that we, just took the first bullet company that would sponsor us. Like, hammers are what I was shooting before the sponsorship. It's because they just work and they blend those worlds where they're not lead core, so they're legal everywhere.
Yeah.
But they have equal performance to, penetration of like a Barnes bullet, but the more explosiveness of like, say, a Nosler AccuBond or something like that.
Yeah, the way I've explained them to people a few times, and I hope the guys don't mind me saying this, but they're like a Barnes that actually flies well.
Yeah.
Like they're like a really slippery Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
That's they're like, you could say, a high BC Barnes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I genuinely think they're a lot easier to get to shoot well than a Barnes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that is the other aspect, is mono bullets can be very hard to reload for sometimes, and not all platforms like them.
Yeah.
And especially in factory ammo.
Yeah.
You can have a factory rifle that shoots Nosler AccuBonds.
Yeah.
In a sub 1 inch group.
Yeah. And
then you load some, monos that are supposed to be for that rifle, for that twist, for everything, and they just don't shoot for whatever reason. And it can work the opposite way too. I'm not just calling out that, but like, that they can be difficult.
Yeah, I was actually having a conversation with a guy the other day about they build. I mean, it was Adam Weatherby. We were on the boat, and he said that they are putting out factory ammo.
They are,
with hammers. So that says a lot.
Yep. Yeah, they've started loading. I think they started like a year ago or something like that. Maybe a skosh more, but they started off with, I think, 5 offerings, and they've just been growing with the offerings ever since. But it's not. I was trying to pick Steve's brain about this at one point, and he wouldn't give it up. But it's a custom bullet they made for Weatherby.
Gotcha.
It's not a Hunter. It's not a shock hammer.
Interesting.
It's something they made kind of special for Weatherby.
Gotcha.
And
there's opportunity here for a decent monolithic like this, or whatever you want to call it, to really, really blow up. I mean, the traditional projectiles we use, I think these are much more consistent in their performance.
Mm-hmm.
People just haven't discovered them yet.
Yeah,
people don't trust something if they haven't used it, and
Well, and you get a lot of fanboy nation stuff too, where it's like, I've used these for 20 years and they've killed everything. Why do I need this new whiz bang bullet? And they actively go against it, even though it's a great innovation. Yeah. But no, the guys at Hammer, they're doing great. I mean, and they've got contracts with like custom manufacturers that load ammo. Yeah. So like Choice Ammo is one, Hendershots is another one, where you can go to those websites and order some 30-06 or some 300 Win Mag if you don't want to reload yourself. Yeah. And get hammers. Yeah. And they have like, good night, I think like 10 different options now. If you go to their website, they have like a picture with all the different logos. Gotcha. Where you can't do that in Alaska. I will disclaimer that if you're listening to us from Alaska, you can't do that because it's going to be very difficult to get those bullets up here. Yeah. But if you live in the lower 48, you can do it all day long. Yeah, exactly.
There's some local FFLs you can go through that can facilitate those purchases. Mm-hmm. You know what I thought was so cool about hammer, like how I found hammers, was when you couldn't find like 223 ammo, and you couldn't find like anything. You'd go on any other bullet manufacturer's page and you couldn't find bullets. And one of my buddies, he's like, "Hey, you ever heard of Hammer bullets?" And I'm like, "What the heck is that, dude?" Mm-hmm. And I go on there and it's just like in stock. Yeah. In stock. Yeah. And then I'm like, well, these must suck. This is why they're in stock.
Nobody's buying them.
Yeah, no one's buying. They're garbage. And then I start talking to buddies that like load these things, and they're like, "Dude, these things are awesome. Like, keep this to yourself because, it's hard to find stuff right now."
Yeah.
But and I just got that like time after time from people, and then they just always they ship quick.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that was really,
which is mind-boggling. Yeah. I mean, like here and now, and then the availability, just like always available.
Yeah. The only caveat I'll put to that, and this is actually an aspect I love about them, but like right now there's even a banner on their website because it's hunting season down there.
We're hunting.
That says you may experience some delays in shipment because we're out doing what we all love to do. You know, kind of. And I'm like, I respect it.
You can get behind that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna throw a fit. Good luck out there.
Yeah.
Like, I can wait.
It's like anything.
okay.
Just say that.
Yeah. Just, yep.
Upfront information's
Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, I'm not sitting here wondering.
Yeah.
No, they're great guys though, and you can call him, have a real conversation. He'll help you with your project. You don't even have to know in full detail what you're doing as far as like the science of it. Just tell him what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
I've got this. This is what I want to do. He can brainstorm with you.
Yeah.
And they love brainstorming.
Yeah.
And they're great at it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's why they built what they built, So by all means, and it's changing soon. I'm just going to say that. But right now, if you use the discount code, the Northern Hunter, at checkout, you will get 10% off your purchase.
Oh, no way.
Hunters.
Awesome.
Yep. So, yeah, go ahead and do that. That'll be awesome for them, awesome for us, and awesome for you.
Yeah,
so,
cool. Good to know.
Yeah. But, well, I think we've yammered on for just about quite long enough for one evening.
Yeah.
I would definitely think we could probably go on for a whole nother one, but maybe at some point we'll talk you into going against your better judgment again. But
I'll get trapped up here with a vehicle that doesn't run again.
Exactly. I'll give you a ride, but we're just gonna swing by my place real quick.
I'll do it.
We're taking advantage of any situation we can right now. No, I really appreciate you coming by, though. Is there any gold nuggets you wanted to drop for any new person before you sign off?
New person to hunting or
hunting, Alaska, all that.
Study the regs.
Yeah, it's a big one.
They'll get you caught.
Yep.
Study the regs. Chat to someone that knows what they're doing. Someone that's readily available.
Mm-hmm.
Someone that's happy to chat.
Yeah.
Oh man, you put me on the spot.
Hey, that was good enough. We can leave it at that.
Yeah.
That's a good piece of advice.
Yeah, two things that are very good. Two very good pieces of advice. Right on, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you spending your evening with us.
No worries.
And swinging by. It's been an absolute pleasure. To everybody listening, thank you so much for hanging in with us. If you have any questions about what we talked about in this episode, you want to drop your handle one more time on Instagram?
Yeah, it's Adventure Hunts NZ.
See all the cool stuff you're up to. And if you have a question for us, you can go to the website, thenorthernhunter.com. We have a contact button there that sends us a email that goes to Chris and I. And then we also have Instagram and Facebook currently. If you go to search at The Northern Hunter on either one of those two, you'll find us. And we always try to reply to messages as fast as possible. Make sure to hit the merch store while you're on our website. Rock a Northern Hunter logo. We got hats, hoodies, t-shirts, all the good stuff. And there's a partners page there with links and discount codes for not only Hammer Bullets, but a lot of other companies that have decided to sponsor us and they like what we're doing. If you shop with them and use that code, we'd all appreciate it. And thank you, Chris, for swinging by. Thank you, Marcel, once again. And to everybody listening, get out there, get after it, and good luck. See you next time.